Hey yo, check Chuffy 1, 2. Hey yo. Hey yo, check. Yo. Hey yo. Yo, check. Hey yo, check. Yo. Hey yo. Check Chuffy 1. Check. Hey yo, check. Yo. Hey yo. Check. Check Chuffy 1. Check. Yo, check. Yo. Hey yo. Check. Check Chuffy 1. Check. Yo, check. Yo. Hey yo. Check. Check Chuffy 1. Check. Yo, check. Yo. Hey yo. Check. Check Chuffy 1. Check. Yo, check. Yo. Hey yo, check, check, yo, check, yo, check, yo.
Hi, you're Scott.
Hey yo, check, check, yo, check, yo, check, yo.
Hi, you're Scott.
Hey yo, check, check, yo, check, yo, check, yo.
Hi, you're Scott.
Hey yo, check, check, yo, check, yo, check, yo.
Hi, you're Scott.
Hey yo, check, check, yo, check, yo.
Hi, you're Scott.
Hey yo, check, check, yo, check, yo, check, yo.
Hi, you're Scott.
Hey yo, check, check, yo, check, yo.
Hi, you're Scott.
Hey yo, check, check, yo, yo. Have enough of that now, you. Got to do the tweet, haven't I? I haven't even done the tweet. What do you mean hasn't even done the tweet? Look, I've been on the internet earlier on Battery Exhausted, and I've got this wig on because we're doing Genshin Impact today. We're playing Genshin Impact. What? And what? What do you mean, and what? I mean, and what? I mean, Genshin Impact, when he spent 0-0. Let's get that up. Where's Genshin Impact? Where's that?
We mercs have one simple
I can hear it,
rule.
I can't see it.
Whoever...
Where's Genshin Impact? I want to see my Genshin Impact. Where's Genshin Impact? Yep. There it is.
Most is your new boss.
Yeah. Genshin Impact. Oh, where's my Genshin Impact?
It truly is fascinating.
There it is. There she is.
The neighboring nation of Liyue
Here's some
is the
crafting.
most prosperous commercial port in all of Tibet.
Genshin Impact. I've got this wig, look. So you're going to want to see that. When I do the green screen, all this green
You're
bit,
also here from Mondstadt's wine, aren't you?
it's all lost in the green screen. But you know who I am? You see who I am?
And
It's got a bit bent in the
Which
in the
should I
package.
choose?
But you can see who I am. So now that you've seen that, in all its lovely
Ancient
glory,
alchemy truly is fascinating.
got to sort that out now, haven't I? Got to put that back. Put that back. Genshin Impact. And I've been on earlier on Super Chuffer. No, I've been on Battery Exhausted earlier, doing mental health, a little bit of mental health thing. So interesting. And then this has to be said to somebody. Hello in chat. Hello, Decepticon. Hello, Decepticon. Decepticon, you're going to laugh at this. Hello, Sinky Socks. Hello, Wendy Wu. Hello, ACW. Decepticon's one of my friends, don't worry. Don't worry in chat, they're one of my friends. This is funny, what Alan did today, what Alan's going to do today, just quick, we're not doing Alan, we're doing Genshin Impact, and we're going to react to the Zelda video from Mad Season right now, but what Alan's done, just a quick bit of Alan watch. Oh god, where to start with this? Okay, your channel, get Battery Exhausted is my B-side channel, yeah? So Battery Exhausted for the detractor memes.
Very delicious. China, they say. Dolly Chen, chicky Chen, way Dolly Chen. Shut the fuck up. Chen.
So over there for the detractor memes, I've done a couple of lives. I did one about Angry Alan. I reviewed him. Angry Alan was on the Restaurant Inspector. It's like Gordon Ramsay. It's like one of those shows. He was on the Restaurant Inspector, so I reviewed his Restaurant Inspector episode. Live watch and react the other day, and Angry Alan false mask reports and all that. So those lives. But I also dropped videos. Angry Alan picked out this story about Nicola Bulley's headstone. It wasn't the headstone of a dead woman. It was a thing on the internet, like a wiki page about memorials, and he got that wrong. So that was wrong. And also, this will blow your mind, Decepticon. I don't know if you've seen this. He visited the Queen. So when the Queen died in the UK, everyone had to go and visit her. Well, you didn't have to. It's not. You don't have to. When the Queen died, she was lying in state. She was like, you know, in a coffin in state. And then you could go and visit. And it was a huge queue, 30 hours in the queue. Do you want to see the Queen lying in the coffin? You can't, it's closed. You have to walk past and be very quiet and careful. But you have to go in a queue. It's like 30 hours. Angry Alan went in to go and do that. But instead of staying in the queue, right, you won't believe this. Instead of staying in the queue, right, he thought, fuck this, and he got himself a disabled wristband from somewhere. Look, there it was. Got himself a cheeky disabled wristband from somewhere and went in on the disabled queue. So I did a video of it on Battery Exhausted where I react, you know, casting the good old react to a lolcow. He pushed in front of a war veteran to get to see the Queen. Didn't queue for 30 hours. Queued for 5 minutes, mate. Got himself in on his disabled badge. And they were like, turn off the camera. And he was like, oh yeah, I'll turn off the camera, yeah. And like, so he's been doing that. He's been on his one. Dug that out from the archives. That was a good one. So, state mandatory warning, yeah. Like, we all had to go and visit the Queen. If you didn't, then you didn't get your British card for the year. And you're not entitled to your benefits for being British, which is that you get to have a pension, and when you go abroad you can complain about the weather and the food. So also Angry Alan has taken it to a new level now. This is going to make me laugh. Actually, this is going to make me laugh. This is what he's going to do tonight. Was the Nicola Bulley case handled by the police well, or were there mistakes? Or another way of saying that is Nicola Bulley police response in review, which is what my next video is going to be on the Nicola Bulley case. I've been discussing it on my channel. My last episode, we veered into the police response on the Super Chuffer channel. Super Chuffer channel, yeah. Super Chuffer, yeah. There's a video, not a live stream. Why? Because I accidentally doxed myself and put a package with my address on the camera, so I had to cut a bit out and put it up as a video. But that IOPC police welfare check, IOC Emily Keeney report, is a look into the police response in a way. But I said in that video, I'm not doing the full police response in this video. That is my next Nicola Bulley video. It will happen next week. And I said, because the audience have requested from me. Oh, and by the way, I've got myself my t-shirt. Angry Alan art. Got my t-shirt. I'm wearing the wig man. So yeah, he faked a disability to get to see the Queen, and like people, it's double egregious because people don't like that people have fake disabilities, but they also don't like it when they get in front of the line to see the Queen when old people are having to stand in the queue for 20 hours or 60 hours. He did a Holly and Phil, yeah. 2 TV presenters, Holly Willoughby and Phil Schofield, pushed in front of the queue. Everyone saw them and they were well eggy about it. So, yeah, so I said on the internet yesterday, my next video on Nicola Bulley will be the police response. It's been requested from my audience. I don't have a lot to say about this and that, and I don't want to, you know, but what I do want to do is the police response. That's going to be one of my videos. And I said it in the public, and today, Angry Alan's like, oh, quick, do what he's doing, quick. He's going to do that tonight. He's going to steal my thunder, except he's not going to steal my thunder because he doesn't know what I'm going to say, or he can't, like, I'm not going to watch his stuff tonight. I don't want it to cloud my thinking about what I want to do. But on top of it, I kind of want to watch to see how badly he's going to do it, because I'm going to do it a lot better than him. And it's actually better that he does his first, because now he's going to say, oh, they steal ideas off me, or they always say that I steal their ideas. Well, I did my video first. You know, he's going to be like that about it, which is pedantic and bullshit. Like, but you know, Slinky Socks though. You know, I said it in like you know, I've been saying it. What's my next content about Nicola Bulley going to be? Police response. So I'm going to do it better. I'm going to do it later, after. And I'm not in a rush to try and, oh my god, you know, maybe I should go online, because I'm online now. I could start now, police response, like earlier than him. We could both do it at the same time. I've got a different plan than him. He doesn't know what my plan is, so I've got a different plan than him. And it's just funny, like, it's not just like he's stolen. The thing is, it's like, it's an ideas. This was also said in the public as well. Like, ideas are out there. You know, anyone could do any video. Like, you can't really steal ideas, can you? Well, Alan does though. He doesn't. There's different ways of going about it, isn't there? And it's just weird the way that, like, I could say it and then he does it the next day. And like, the funny thing to me is to know his thinking, to think like he's like, right, I'm going to do what he said he's going to do, and that's going to get on his egg. And like, you know, in a way, I'm still pulling his strings. Like, he's still reacting to me. So, you know, I'm going to let him dig his own hole tonight. I'm not going to watch and react, but it's got to the point, Decepticon. It's got to the point where people want me to watch live and react, because they would rather have somebody restream Alan than watch Alan's stream. Who does that sound like? Who does that sound like? Yeah, it's a pattern of behaviour. That's exactly it. That's it. That's exactly right. So part of me is tempted. If he's going on at 9:50, why don't I just do an Alan restream? You know, I get loads of views. He gets, when we do it, he gets like 200 or 300 less views because there's obviously about 203 people that watch him because they don't like him, but they just want to see what he's going to say. So, a few people in chat here. Look, Wendy Wu said she messaged him and told him Penny should have been at the bench before 9:30, and that night he was harping on about it. He did it a few times. He left. Yeah, he gets his information from other people. He gets his sex tips from the Beano. It's just funny, isn't it? Though I think it's funny. I think the funniest thing about it is that I'm not like, I didn't feel like, oh no, he's doing that and now that's stolen my thunder. I thought, oh, this is brilliant. It's like he's out of control. He's a Catherine wheel. I actually feel like one of the things I feel like doing is doing a whole big Nicola Buddy video and just making a load of shit up and saying I found this thing and, you know, doing it and then waiting a week and seeing how he says it on his channel and then coming forward and saying, no, it was all made up. Haha, you took the bait. But then no one will be able to trust me in the future. So I'm not going to do that. Viz for sex tips. The Mimp content stealer, yeah. And the songs have been getting the copyright issues, but the songs are brilliant. Alan's just a barrel of laughs. He's a barrel of laughs. And he takes himself so fucking seriously all the time as well. This was a good one. They spotted this. This entire video that he uploaded is somebody else's video from another channel. It's from 2019, the 2019 Obios celebrations. And Alan took about 12 minutes, 15 minutes of video and just uploaded it to his channel from someone else again. He pretended he went there and filmed it. And for his thumbnail, there's a picture of him in the thumbnail. But in no part of this video is he there. And at one point, there's the 2019, like they hold it up and it says 2019 on it. Like the parade has like 2019 written on the front. So he's on that again. Obios Padstow May Day celebrations. AD investigates. He never went to the... Like there's just the thumbnail of him stood in front of some bunting. Like what's going on? I still love Gangstalker's attack. I still love that I've got that. There's me in the thumbnail with the wig on. I still love that. But yeah, Alan's struggling again. Part of me wants to watch it to see how badly he struggles tonight because I don't know how he's going to have insight on the police and their behaviour. He's going to throw a load of like shit at the police, isn't he? I was quite mean about the police yesterday on my stream a little bit. I was a bit like, you know, do your jobs. Stop having people get murdered, but... Slinky Socks thinks they've been chatting with Alan. It could be one of his trolls. He's got... This is an interesting aspect of it as well, is we've never had trolls on our YouTube channels, but since I've been talking about Alan, there's like several that keep turning up, and some of them are Alan. Like, some of them are Alan, like, it's obvious, but some of them you're not so sure, because the typing and the spelling are not that bad. So I think he's probably got one or two that work on his behalf. But I'll tell you what, Slinky Socks, it's just not even worth it. Like, you know, where'd you go with it? What what's the point? It makes me laugh. Like, the idea they're doing is they're trying to sting us, or the other one they're doing now is they came into my chat on the last stream and they were all there saying, and it's all gone now because I had to edit out that bit where I showed my address. We did a live yesterday and I held up a parcel with this wig in it and I had my address on it and like that was stupid. So I edited it out and now it's ended up in the video section with the edited out bit, so we've lost the chat. But there were people in our chat and they were basically there from Alan and they were there, or Alan himself, and they were just there to cause disruption and say mean things, not directly to me, but weird things. So that the idea is that you come into the chat and you think, oh, I don't like it here. People are being mean. This man cultivates a mean chat because he's a bully. So he doesn't, these people are mean, you know, and then you go away. In contrast, on Alan's last live, and this is the truth, although I should definitely have clipped this. In contrast, right, on Alan's last live, there was a guy called Peter Folding in their chat. Peter Folding is the man that searched the river for the Nicola Buddy case. Now, Peter Folding wasn't really in their chat. It was a fake account. Okay? But they all fell for it. Someone in his chat said, like, Peter Folding, thanks for the wonderful job you've done. The man that searched the river in this case was not in Alan's chat. It's a fake account. Penny Bunny fell for that the other day as well. She pinned Peter Folding, pinned his message. It's not the real Peter Folding, you fucking idiot. Do your due diligence. But the people in Alan's chat, they just went straight for it. Oh my god, this famous river search man who's part of the case is watching Alan on a Thursday night. And he felt compelled to comment about how good Alan is. Seal of approval. Commentary, criticism, bullying, yeah. Like, trolling, holding to account, detracting. To be honest though, this is really important actually. You understand it, obviously Decepticon, but I think everyone understands it. But I want to bring it, this is my best way of explaining this, and it's kind of harsh as well, but Serenity, I think it's Serenity, isn't it? No? What's her name? Oh wait, I'll find it like this. Simplicity. I hope she never sees this. I assume she doesn't watch my stuff. But Simplicity ASMR, she says she's got autism. And she does ASMR videos sometimes. Yeah, or she does. And so ASMR are like quiet little videos to help you sleep and stuff like that. Yeah, quiet little videos. She might not be the best at filming it, or she might not be the best at microphone or whatever, but she's doing trying, and you can't fail her for that. You can't say anything about that. You just you're doing your little bit, and this is your videos, and I'm not critiquing the quality of the. Bear in mind, I'm not bullying this woman on the internet. That's what I'm trying to say. That's my point here. But look at this, right? So I would bin off this intro because it's what's going on. Let's just bin that off. But this is the ASMR bit. Some people like it, some people whatever. Some people might say you could do it better or worse, or whatever. I'm not judging this. I'm just saying this is what she's doing, yeah? It's actually alright. In a kind of lo-fi, kind of naive charm way. Does she get paid to do that? Not very much, no. The other thing that happens is some people have requested of her that she does snoring ASMR. So this involves her going to sleep. And maybe she'll do some snoring when she's asleep. So this is not the most popular genre of ASMR out there, let me tell you that. And let me ask you, why is she doing it? Now, I'm going to ask questions and answer them for myself because I'm an arsehole. Right, so the question is, why is she doing it? The answer is because people have said to her in chat, can you do one of these snoring videos? And she said, yeah, absolutely, because I'm naive. I'll do what you say in chat. And then she's done it. It's not like I'm asking you to show you pictures of my feet. I don't, do pictures of your feet. Do your feet video. Can I see pictures of your feet? Are you 9 years old? Are you doing a dancing video in your bedroom? Why don't you do your best gymnastic video for me and also get your feet on it? No, it's like, but they've asked her to do snoring, and I think they might be teasing her, really. I don't know, maybe they really like the snoring videos, but I think they might be teasing her because this doesn't seem like the best video to put on YouTube in most contexts. Even with ASMR as the background context, it does seem a little bit something. She alright? She's moving there. Seems a bit something. I don't know what to say, yeah? So I'm not bullying this woman on the internet. Bear in mind, my episodes are not, what's her name? Simplicity ASMR does extra video. Simplicity ASMR, look what she's doing now. Ha ha ha. Like, she's naive and she's on the internet, and sometimes she might look a bit silly, but if we rip the piss out of people like this, then it's just like bullying people, isn't it? Like, I don't have to watch all her stuff. I don't think she's brilliant, but I'm not going to bully her. Like, she's just naive and on the internet, so that's fine. Go ahead and be naive and on the internet. I'm not going to bully you. This one, bit different in its own way. It's a bit different. Oh, did I do the Twitter? I haven't done the Twitter yet. Wait, I haven't done my tweet yet. Let me do the tweet, tell everyone I'm on the internet. Or did I tweet already? This one's a bit different, isn't it? This video. Decepticon, you'll like this. Decepticon. This video is a bit different. So this is ASMR belly dancing. Somewhere along the lines, someone's encouraged this. Now, if I was her friend, I would say probably don't do this anymore and probably remove this from your channel because it might be a very niche audience that thinks this is... Don't even know what the words are. Hello, capital K. Hello, capital K. Capital K comes in at the best times. I call him capital K because the capital is like the biggest letter, you know, big letter, and it's capital King Kelvin. So I call him, he's called the Onyx Gamer, but I call him capital K, like the big K. So she's having fun. Look, she was smiling about it. She was laughing. I don't know if she thinks it's funny or what, but there are some people that are watching this and they're not... I mean, I don't know what they're saying in the comments, but I'm guaranteeing you there are going to be some people who watch this and take a different sort of vibe to it than you think you're giving out, whatever's going on there. So I would suggest, if I was her friend, I would just quietly whisper in her ear. It's a bit like, you know, if your friend's got their fly undone or there's a button open on their shirt, you just quietly whisper in their ear, oh, somebody can see your butthole here. Just, you might want to just do that up. Probably just take this... I mean, I like most of your videos, but that one with the belly dancing, I think there's a few people out there who might be getting a bit, you know, giving you the wrong idea about that. It's a very unique niche in ASMR content that I don't see other people doing. Anyway, like, I'm nearly bullying her now. If I carry on, I'm going to bully her. Aren't I? I'm going to be doing her as like an episode. Why we should laugh at this woman. She's a lol cow. She's stupid. She's on the internet. Yeah, she's all of that. But also, she's naive and she's not doing anything offensive. She's not grifting for money necessarily. She'd like to get paid for doing ASMR, as everyone that looks at, you know, ASMR... Because when I started ASMR, it was, do you want to make people get tingles and do you want to do some ASMR? Because getting paid's not an option. Even the biggest ones weren't really getting paid. Like, they were getting a few 100,000 views, but, you know, it wasn't like big monetization YouTube. And then over the years, things have changed. So now she's looking at people who are making their money doing ASMR videos, and she's like, oh, I could do that. Like, I'd rather do that than fucking go to work. Like, so, like, that's all right, fair enough. But she's not doing very well at it. And she's gone down this road. Like, we could bully her and say she's a lol cow. I'm going to say we leave these people alone. Like, we don't bully people who... She said she's got autism. Like, she's making some weird choices, yeah. But I'm not going to make episodes having a pop at her all the time. Like, people who are more self-aware, people who are grifting people who are, like, you know, doing mean things and stealing. Like, I say stealing. Like, people who are doing mean things, yeah. Yeah, but people like this, I don't feel like it's really fair to bully them. So I'm not an online bully, am I? Like, if I was, I'd pick different targets. I wouldn't pick Alan. I'd pick these people.
Hey, y'all. Somebody's birthday is today.
Hello.
It's my mama's.
See, she's got a mum on it. She's nice.
And it's going to be a silly one. And she already knows, so... Happy birthday to you.
So I'm not bullying them. Instead of that, I'll have a pop at Armchair Detective. Now, Armchair Detective, yeah, you might think, oh well, he's very similar to those people, isn't he? He's very similar to those people in a way. He's ignorant of how he's perceived. Like, they're not bad ignorant, but ignorant about how he's perceived. Yeah. The thing about a lol cow is they go out looking for trouble or fame. She's just having fun and doing her own thing on her channel. Yeah, it's like, she's too... I don't know, in a way she's looking for fame as well, but I don't think she's looking at it in the egregious way. Like, I keep saying egregious today. I don't think she's looking for it in a like, dirty, cloying, disgusting way. Yeah. There's another one called... another one that I am aware of called Pinky. Pinky wants to be a... She's banned on YouTube, I don't know. She wants to be a... where is she? I should be able to find her on... There she is. She wants to be a, like... Pinky wants to be... I can't get my words out. She wants to be like a Japanese idol. She wants to be like a cross between an Asian and a... Japanese, like, she wants all the boys to like simp on her and stuff like this, but she's just not quite that popular and she gets a lot of trolls. But I still think like she's kind of cool in a way. I really don't think her music's quite up to speed though. But like, you know, she's halfway there. But she falls into that bracket where people think she's trying really hard, and you know they troll her a lot. I think, you know, every time she does something, they're like, "Oh, this isn't very good." But she's like more, you know, in the firing line because she's doing all this sort of stuff. Whereas, but then the other woman got her tummy out and all that. So it's just maybe it's levels. I don't know. Pinky looks more presentable and cute, yeah. But and like she got more popularity in general. But she does get a lot of trolling as well. I think some people perceive her as a lol cow. She's just like on my radar. She's not someone that I really like, you know, follow that heavy. But she's trying to be like this musician thing. But there's a lot of people who say they don't sort of give her the credit for, like, you know, for being like, they're like, oh no, you're not, you're rubbish, sort of thing. I don't know. So there's different levels and ranges of these people, aren't there? With Alan, going back to the point that I'm making, Alan is not in this department. What Alan is he's vindictive and malicious. He's mean-spirited. He's selfish. He sees the internet as his resource. He sees YouTube as a cash machine, and all he has to do is talk a load of shit about all this rubbish. And the reason he talks about this particular subject is because he thinks that older women are interested in it, and they're the easier people to grift. So, you know, it's funny to think that I'd be bullying Alan. Like, he's a grown man. Can I bully a grown man? I suppose I can. With the others, you feel like if someone was bullying that Simplicity ASMR, let's say she had some really bad trolls, wouldn't you feel in a way like defending her in a way? Even though like you can't really defend her content and say it's any good. You'd be like, yeah, but leave her alone though. With Alan, it's different to that. It's different. And can't he stick up for himself? Like, in a way, like, does he need all these old women to be fighting his battles? I think it says holding him to account. Yeah, that's what we do. No, you're not derailing. We were just having a chat at the start, and you're here, and I just thought, you know, we'd do a bit of Alan Watch to start with, and then I got chatting, got talking. Yeah. Bob says his favourite YouTubers, and Bob's in the detractor sphere. Bob says the favourite YouTubers tend to be those who don't do it for a living, which would be most lolcow detractors. I'm trying to do it for a living. I think when you don't do it for a living, there's a certain pressure that's not upon you. So you can just do the true core of what you want. There is something to be said for having commercial pressure upon you, because then you are shaped to be better in some ways. But some people might say it's not better, it's homogenization. And I agree with that in a way. So there's a sort of balance. Drinking something that's got, you can't drink that, it's not open. There's a balance, I guess. I've been everything. I've done it all for the passion and the love, and I've done it now more interested in actually making a success of it. And I can say that I prefer it this way with the money. Thanks, Bob. Yeah, I prefer it this way with the money. It certainly means I can do more. Like when I used to do it without the money coming in, I used to make ASMR videos. Get me up, Super Chuffer channels. I was doing this ASMR. This is my first thing on YouTube, was ASMR videos, and they were going quite well, to be honest. Like, not everything got loads and loads of views, but some of them like hit the old algorithm. Some of them did. You know, I got my, everyone gets their like sort of couple of big ones, don't they? I got my 200,000 for that one, Chukka Chukka Sounds, and my first video did quite well as well, which was a good jump off point. And like, I had a little journey through the art form and investigating and exploring and having fun. You know, at no point did I monetize any of this, but I discovered, and this is why I'm not like I'm not the winner out of ASMR, so to speak. I discovered that those that were monetizing were doing a lot better than me. And the reason they were doing better is because the algorithm was promoting them more, because when I turned on monetization, it started promoting my videos more, because it didn't want to promote them before because they weren't monetized. And then it started saying you have to have adverts anyway. But anyway, that, long story short, not getting any money from it was meaning that I was only doing it in my spare time, because I only could do it in my spare time. If someone had been paying me hundreds of dollars for each of these videos, like some of my successes would have been in the thousands, like I'd have suddenly had a massive budget for making ASMR. I could have flown to America and done a collab with an American. You know, like the sky would have been the limit. Instead, I had to struggle and try and find a job and learn to do hairdressing and stuff like... wait, I did ASMR after hairdressing. What am I saying? I had to struggle and learn a job and get money out of filmmaking. That's what I had to try and do. And at no point, even though I was trying to work as a filmmaker and like get jobs, you know, making little bits of media, I didn't monetize this account, and it would have been a great boon to me. And I did all the work. So because I was making videos for anxious people mainly, and you know, quiet people, I felt it wasn't really the right thing to monetize it. But looking back, I would reverse that decision in a shot. A lot of people maybe stayed with me because they felt I had some sort of ethical, you know, I never monetize it, you don't get adverts, so that's good. But overall, I'd have monetized if I would explain to myself and go back and shake myself, like that one, Puckaticka, 40k views, like that could have been £4,000 or more. And then I wouldn't just be whispering into a fucking dummy head in my fucking spare room, would I? Because like YouTube would be paying me like solid money to make something of it, and then I could have taken it somewhere. And when I did the ASMR road trip, the documentary I made, I did that with £500. I could have had a proper budget. Like there's that documentary I made, ASMR road trip. I mean, it's there, it exists. We went round, we met the people. There's me. You know, did a proper film.
To know what I'm trying to portray.
Met one of the biggest ASMR artists in the UK, who is still one of the biggest ones in the UK, Emma Whispers Red.
Throughout my life growing up, I used to every now and again say to people,
so like, you know, that went well for £500, but imagine if I'd been making money off it. Like I could have done it twice as good with a big budget. So it was a naivety to not monetize back in the day. Something that was ethically correct, but you can take your ethics and you can go and sit in the fucking corner, because this is YouTube. So the people who've got all the ethics and, you know, like fighting the powers of be, fighting the advertising people, you're fighting your own advertising revenue, and you're being held back against people who are not doing that, and they're getting further ahead. So you just dwindle off into the bin. And if I wanted to compete with those people who took it to those next levels, I couldn't, because I didn't have a budget, because I was doing it in my free time. So unless you've got a really good job and it's really paying you well, when you're doing content creation, I think it's quite acceptable to take the reward for your work. And on this platform, there are adverts. So enjoy. In all the platforms there are adverts. Yeah. Interesting. Don't know where I had my little rant come from there. Don't know where my little rant came from. Are you all good? In chat, hello Sleep to Chance Dream. There's a few of you in tonight, aren't there? I did advertise it a bit more. There's actually quite a few of you in tonight, so I should stop ranting about this bullshit and do what we're supposed to do. Shouldn't I? Shouldn't I, eh? Shouldn't I? Shouldn't I? I should be watching King Jad. Oh no! Oh no, did I do the tweet? That's the most important thing. Did I do the tweet? Probably didn't. So let's get a picture of me and Genshin Impact so that we can do the tweet. There's Genshin Impact. Let's make it look nicer. I'm going in the fountain. I'm going at the top of the fountain, look. Ooh! Ooh! Ooh, that's going at me. Ooh! Ooh, that's going up me Jaxie. Ooh! Oh, no, wait. When I press the button, she jumps. Okay, stay still. Stay still. Ready? Gonna get my little thumbnail picture. That'll do. That's perfect. I'll screenshot that. Perfect. And I'll copy and paste. Oh, I've done it perfectly. This is going to be the best one ever.
My people are used to the desert life, but still, I hope that one day they'll be able to find an oasis of their own.
Oh, this is going to be the best one ever.
Sandstorms behind for a better life.
I'll just write perfect. Best one ever. And then I'll write, I'm playing Genshin Impact on Twitch. And then what I'll do, this is like admin, you shouldn't have to watch this. This isn't streaming, this is admin. You're having to put up with now. Go to my own channel. Someone should be doing this for me, copy. Go to my own, shut up you. And then it's me, and I'm pasting that in there. And now everyone can see that. Tweet that. They've all seen it. They'll think, what's that line on it? Well, it's where I screenshotted, there was a line on my obs that I didn't get rid of. But it's still part of the perfection, so shut up. Slinky Sock says, Daddy took me shopping and to a singer he found. Introduced me to a singer he found. That's cool. You've been having a good day. I need to make my face smaller. I'm too big on it. Whoa! That was... Too big on the old screen. Make it smaller then. I'll make my face smaller. Oh, why are you making my face smaller now? I'm getting smaller and smaller. Oh, no, I'm getting I'm only tiny. I'm only tiny. Oh, no. Oh, no. I'm only tiny. Oh, no. I want to go bigger. Go bigger, 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 bigger. Okay. Whew. That was all. That was nearly too much for a minute. That was nearly too much for him. Drink me. Eat me. Eat me. That was nearly too much. Whew. Do you know, if you were really small, like the borrowers, right? If you were really small like the borrowers, then you're not surviving. You're not surviving. Because oxygen's not going to get smaller for you, is it? Like, oxygen particles are not going to get smaller for you.
Happier.
ACW sent tippies. Super Chuffer owes 10 hugs.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Thanks. Getting tippies on this stream now and everything. Woo! Can you eat me? Capital K. Listen. The borrowers, right? They're little people, little tiny if you're little, right? But oxygen's not getting any smaller, is it? So your blood's still got to absorb the oxygen, your heart's still got to pump it round. I assume you've still got a circulatory system, even if you are a tiny little fucking munchkin person. Yeah? If you're only this big, the little borrowers, the little elves. So what are you doing? You're having a nervous system, you're having circulation, but all the other atoms and elements, they're not changing, are they? So how are you going to pump the oxygen? Are you going to get enough oxygen in your blood? Because my blood, the hemoglobin in the blood, it takes the oxygen in its little dimple, doesn't it? We know this. It's like a little mushroom. Not mushroom, what am I saying? Like a little disc with a little dimple in it. It looks like the sweets that were advertised on the front of the Beano that I never got to try, that came from the 1970s. That you don't understand what I'm talking about. The sweets on the Beano from the 1970s. It looks like them though. Little dimpled sweets. Like, oxygen's got to go in there and go around. So how many are you that? Because I'm assuming your blood's going to be small, or is your blood the same hemoglobin? It's not going to work, is it? It's not going to work if you're a little chuffer. How are you going to breathe? What about the carbon dioxide and the, how's that going to work? Is it just going to work fine for you? What about the viscosity of your blood? What about the relative pressure in your blood vessels? Because at my size, the blood vessels have got a certain amount of pressure, so when my heart goes, it pumps it round. But when you're little, like that, if you're this little, then you've got a really small heart, maybe, but the pressure and the blood and the viscosity and the thickness, and I don't think it's going to work. That's my take on it. Hot take. Borrowers, no. Right. On the agenda today, I've got to do my commissions, my daily commissions, so let's just do those. But really, I've done this now. I did this off screen, so shut up, you don't get to see it, but I got my free Faruzan, I got my new, that was fine, it was just mini games. And we've got this, 10 days to do it. I don't even know what it is, so we're going to go and have a look at it. That's the main things. There's still loads on the quest. I wanted to get loads off the quest list, but look at how big this quest list is. And there's this, 3 days to go, so I'm doing this. I want to get as much off this list as possible. I reckon these are all big things. I think these might take some big time. So, look at it. Genshin Impact never ends. The never-ending story. So that's what's on the list today. Enjoy it. And then I want to... Oh! That's coming up now. Now it's coming up. Is it ever going to stop? Yeah. What I want to do is there's a video that I want to react to on YouTube. I should have said this at the start of the episode, you idiot. Why didn't you do it at the start of the episode? Why have you done it now? Mad Season. Mad Season's brilliant. And they've done an episode called The Ocarina of Time Pandora's Box. It's an hour long. If I react to it, it might take us 3 hours. So I don't know how long that's going to take. So what we're going to do is we're going to play the Genshin Impact for a little bit. Then we're going to switch to the React. We'll have a chat. We'll go through it. In leading up to me playing the new Zelda on Friday, which might be tomorrow. So, a bit of Zelda nostalgia before tomorrow. So that's the plan. You all alright with that? You're just going to talk to each other in chat. That's fine. Forget it. Forget it. It's fuck it. I need to talk to you. I need to talk to you. I'll play Genshin Impact. I'll talk to Dear. Hello, Dear. She's not paying me any attention. She's doing her makeup. Are you alright? Oh, she smiled. She do a little smiling. Obviously cheered her up. Oh, Peachy said it was a good plan. You're right. Peachy's talking to me. Sorry, I didn't realise. You're right. You're listening. Yeah, it's fine. No, it's fine. You do what you want. Talk to everyone. I'm just going to do my daily commissions, so it's not even interesting anyway. Doesn't matter. Just going to teleport about Mondstadt, killing Hilly Charles for a minute or two. Tell you what's really cool is now you're all coming here to watch this, you chuffers, and I thank you. You're going to push me up the list on Twitch, and people are going to come to my stream and be like, this is not like the Genshin Impact streams I'm used to seeing. How come people are watching this? That's what they're going to say. I hope in a good way. There's a mushroom, that's mine. Whee! Look at these. They're on the beach. They're having a nice day out on the beach. Hilly Charles with a little... Is it a Mitterchurl? I don't know. It's a slightly bigger Hilly Charl with them anyway. They're just having a nice day out. They don't know this is coming. Watch. They don't know this is coming. Yeah! Oosh! Cha! They didn't... So no one expected that. It's all kicking off. 2 of them are dead. That one's just seen his mate get killed. And they're dead. It's almost humane, isn't it? You know, because 1 minute they're there, the next minute they're gone. I mean, this is a bit more painful because they're going to burn to death here. Jumpy Dumpty Pow! Ow! Smashing up a little girl, you rude. You deserve it, you do, for being rude. And that's my commission. So, I could have asked them to move on, but I went in heavy early doors, and it seemed to do the job. So, that's fine. Slinky Tox is here to chill out and connect with other people. That's fine, you do that. You connect with people. I'm here to play Genshin Impact and have chill out time and not have a mental health breakdown because I have to cover fucking murders and death and little girls getting murdered, or I have to cover grifting old chuffers who rob money off nanas, or, you know, this is joy time. Twitch is joy time. And I don't know why I even started it with that moaning at the start about what he's doing, but it's just funny as fuck. Twitch is joy time. The more it infects the other streams, for a bit, I'm going to do it. I'll talk about everything on all the streams for a bit, and then everyone will know what's going on, and then I'll stop it, because I don't really, like, some people will be like, oh, I've come here to watch you play Genshin Impact. How dare you, Daddy? I've come here to watch you play Genshin Impact, Daddy. I'm not going to school. You've talked about other things on the Genshin Impact stream, Daddy. You're infecting it with your other content, Daddy. How dare you? It's just cross-pollination for a bit, so that everyone knows what's going on, and then things will go back to sort of normal service resumed after Zelda. After Zelda, Daddy. I don't know where you're going to stream Zelda, Daddy. You said you were going to do it on Twitch, but part of you wants to do it on YouTube, don't you, Daddy? Yes, part of me does want to do it on YouTube, but it doesn't seem to fit on those channels, but I also wanted to expose the YouTube audience to me playing a game on a stream. Oh, Daddy, you think you're so special, Daddy. I'm not going to school. I mean, you're all the same people anyway, so what does it matter? Get up there, you fucker. Right, up there. And then defeat the Ruin Guard. Oh, this will be fun. This thing's going to just get absolutely tanked in. Watch this. Going to switch out this little chuffer for this little chuffer.
Time to broaden the horizons again.
Hooray! And then absolutely mash this thing in. Nice and quick. We'll go in our little bag and we'll get some food in us as well. Attack food. The best kind of food. Oh look, there's a sleeping Hilly Charl. Woke them up. Fuck them. This is what we're here to do. Wakey wakey! You big nutter. He's in the water already, so that helps us. Yeah! Whoa, whoa, whoa.
You asked for it.
You asked for it. Did you? Or was it the other table? You sure? Pretty sure someone asked for it, didn't they? Did they? No? I'll take it back to the kitchen then. No, it's fine, it's fine. We can take it back to the kitchen. I'll probably get to eat it on my break. I should do this more often, shouldn't I? Get to eat nice things on my break then. I'm sure they ordered that. Get to do nice things on my... It's nice if I get to have a nice thing on my break. That's not coming off my wages. I'm sure they ordered that. Don't worry, it's fine. You don't get to eat it on your break. Well, can't I? I was only having a laugh with the customers. No, you put it back in the fridge and then we'll serve it to the next customer. I don't think you can do that. Which one am I now? Hang on, I'm confused about who I am now. Someone had a voice thing that they weren't allowed to say. How dare you? As much chicken as I can eat. You got honey melting in your ear, says Steve's Chance to Dream. Wait. Honey in your ear? That big is sticky. Don't put honey in your ear. Don't put honey in your ear. That's a bad tip. ACW says they don't like it when there's as many people in chat. Well, there's a Pronacon, isn't there? Because this was the quiet place before all you came over here. But if things will start to grow and, you know, we'll have to do member streams. That's the only way through. Is those that pay can get close. I don't know. We'll have to do something, I suppose, yeah. I don't know. It wants me to have a look at this web event. I don't want to do the potion web event. Jesus. And there's a special event, which is the web event. Look. I don't want to... There's too much. That's going on a web page and messing about on a minigame on a web page for extra stuff. I'm here to mess up some hilly chills. Thanks.
Grow. Sharing my knowledge.
Sharing my knowledge. Sharing my knowledge. Hilly chills. Stupid hilly chills. Right, what's next on my list? Things to do in Monster. I'm basically what it is I'm a Knight of Favonius, so like, I've got this list of things to do every day. Keep the place running. And this is my little squad of people that go around with me. They're all my friends, so we go and get this shit sorted. It's part of the routine. Well, I don't mind because I'm an honorary Knight of Favonius, so it's quite a title. It's quite the title, really. You know, not everyone gets to be quite an honorary knight. There are people that work hard all their lives and don't get anointed with knighthood. So, honorary knight is quite the title. So, I don't mind. Here we are. What we're doing? Sarajevic down here. He wants me to clear out some choffers. There's something wrong. It's been wrong for ages. I've done this before. I'm on repeat now. So, shut up, Sarajevic. Shut up. I'll take the foot to the mountains because it's quicker. Shut up. Right, go and kill these choffers. Yeah, I get it. Do what you tell me. Here they are. Look, more hilly churls. It's always hilly churls. Fucking dicks. Ow. Right. Told you about loitering down here. Told you about skateboarding in this car park. Can't throw us out for skateboarding. You might be parking your car. You don't have cars. You're 16. Fuck off. That was good. I've got to go back and talk to Sarajevic now and explain what's happened. Which is that I killed all the hilly churls, so, you know, job done. Yeah. Yeah. Wait, no, I haven't filled. There's still more. No. I've run the wrong way. I've run out of puff now for the running. Come on, little legs. Let's go. There's still more. Ow. Bollocks. Trod on a thorn now. That's going to bug me. I have to get that out of my shoe. Here they are. Look, more of them. Would you like me to put more on? Did you call me a moron? No, I'm asking about the sauce. Saucy. Oh, we've seen this before just a minute ago. I know how this ends. With a big fuck you. There we go. Now report to Sarajevich. Report back now. Oh, she's dead. I burned her to death by mistake, so that was a small mistake. Don't tell anyone about that. I'll take that potato, and that's Sunsetia, and we'll forget that I got one of my friends killed along the way. I'll just run. Should be alright. We resurrect her at the resurrection statue. Ow. Which makes everything seem a little bit trite. Right. But, you know, it's a computer game, isn't it? So, for fuck's sake. Take those Sunsetias as well. They're mine. Thank you. Get them on in my bag. This wig's itchy. Have you done as I asked? That's a wrap. I get some more. That's the Munis. So I've had my Munis, and then there's one more expedition. No, sorry, there's one more to do somewhere. Here it is. Let's navigate over there. Going up this way. Wee. I love this because there's a little chuff around the corner. Watch this. Waiting to ambush me, look. Oh, hello. I've ambushed you this time, dickhead. Ow.
Let's get it on!
Push, push, smush.
Here's the gun!
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Except vegan, so not chicken. I try and play the game vegan as well, but recently you just saw me eat a steak to recover one of my characters. Like recently I've been just having to use the stuff in the game, but I do try and play it vegan. In general principle, like if they ask me to go and kill a load of cows, I'm not doing it. There's a fishing mini game, like I could be a fishing thing and get rewards for fishing. I'm not doing the fishing. Just don't fancy it. Okay. I need to sort these fuckers out.
Right.
I've been building towers, which is just not on. We told you about this, you need planning permission for this. So that's going. There's one. Shazam!
For it.
Ka-chow!
Look alive! Ha!
And that's that. Sorted. Of course, I can't come over here without gathering these crystals, so I'm going to be gathering the crystals.
Ha!
Yes. Yes. Magic chunks. Fucking lovely. Crystal chunks. Magic chunks. Love it. All the crystal chunks you can eat. Fucking brilliant. All the chicken I can eat. All the chicken I can eat. So, now what's on my map? Daily commission's done. Brilliant. All the chicken I can eat.
Ad Astra.
Abysosk. Claim
Thank you for completing
commissions. Thank you.
Ad
Astra
Abysosk.
Abysosk. Dispatch your characters. A little bit extra on your list. Little things to do. Little things to do. Thank you. Oosh. And check my battle pass. Claim all that. Okay, now we're ready to take on our new questy challenge thing. So I'm going to do this one first, whatever this is, because there's only 3 days on it and I don't know what it is. So I'm going to find it and do it. I think it might be the leading quest to this, and I skipped it. But I might just do it anyway. Let's see what it is. Or it might be the lead out quest. All the VFC fake chicken fillets I can eat. Actually, I do agree with what you're saying there in chat as well. Being vegan, sometimes you feel like you might as well just eat your own food at home. But we've got to try and get out. And there are some good restaurants. The thing that I'm finding is that we go in these waves. It used to be the mushroom risotto, and then it was the vegetable lasagna, and now it's the sweet potato something or other. And like sweet potato can be quite soft as a texture, so I don't necessarily want a sweet potato mash with my sweet potato pie in my sweet potato. Everything sweet. I need a bit of texture. So I get, at the moment, I find that I go somewhere, the vegan option is a sweet potato thing, and I'm like, one of the most compelling foods I had recently was the banana flour, the deep fried banana flour. That was excellent, and it really did feel a bit like fish and chips, but you almost like vegetarian as well. It was very interesting. So sweet potato katsu curry, yeah. The sweet potato curry, that's exactly on that list of I find I need a bit more texture than sweet potatoes in my curry, if you know what I mean. So I find that there's too much sweet potato going around for me at the moment, and I want a bit of like, I don't know, if it was like, if you took a normal potato and you fried it so it was crispy like chips and then put them in curry, there'd be some crunch and some texture to it. Like the curry sauce itself is already quite smooth, so when I bite into the potato and that's smooth, I'm like, everything's smooth. But I think it's like goes in phases with the vegan stuff, and I think if because they tend to have like one or two options on the menu. It's not like we've got the menu and like 80% of it's vegan. The thing is, why shouldn't it be 80% vegan? Like everyone can eat the vegan food. Yeah, it's not like, oh, this bit's vegan, so that no, you can't have that. It's only for vegans. Like, it's food. This is something that annoys me about the supermarket, the vegan section. The vegan section. Well, you don't need a vegan section because everything vegan is food and everyone can eat it. Yeah? Like, we're not like dietary requirements. Like when you go up and down the vegetable aisle, the fruit, like you go in and there's all the fruit and vegetables in the supermarket, yeah? That's not the vegan aisle, is it? They don't say, put that in the vegan section because it's fruits and vegetables. That's what vegans eat. Put that in the vegan section. But you do have a little vegan section for just specialist little thing. Like, what? Like, shouldn't we just have a supermarket with food and then one little section for, like, fucking nutters who want to eat dead animals? Like, the dead animals section. Like, the butcher section can be separate for people who don't want that. Everyone else, like, vegan food, everyone can eat it. Like, if someone's put a plate of vegan food down in front of someone in a restaurant, unless they've got some special dietary requirements, they can eat it as well. So it seems really weird to me that it should be like one or two vegan options and then the rest of the menu so that vegans are catered for. But instead, couldn't it be like 50% of the menu is vegan and everyone can still eat it, so it doesn't matter? Like, you know, it's not like you're switching people off. You see what I'm saying? Like, it should be the other way around. It should be only 20% of the menu is special things that most people don't eat, like dead animals or, like, you know, whatever. It just seems so weird. It seems so weird. So we get what happens is we get a very limited number of options. The mushroom risotto, the vegetable lasagna, and now the sweet potato something. Like, and you go to 2 or 3 different places and you're like, oh, I'm seeing the same sort of stuff on this vegan option. So I'm not really going to lots of different restaurants. When everyone else gets a bit more variety, I get the same sort of options every time. And there's only 2. So I have to choose between 2 things. So that's a bit weird. But when you go to a vegan restaurant, it's much better because everyone can go. Like, if I took my whole family to a vegan restaurant, they'd just choose things off the menu, wouldn't they? And eat them. So that would be fine. And then I could eat anything. I did go recently. I had a starter for a main course. It was basically little dumplings that I do. Again, it's one of these where I could do it myself at home. I know they probably come in frozen. I do them at home, but maybe they made them handmade. I'll give them credit. Maybe they did. In the miso broth and all that. That was all right, a bit different, but yeah, like limited options. So I don't want the same vegetable lasagna in 3 different restaurants. I want more options, and I want restaurants to realise that something that's vegan doesn't have to be specially labelled and put it to one side, because everyone can eat it. And when you go in the main, like, chefs should see this as a, like, oh, it's difficult and it's a requirement, and like, how do you do a different special? Go in the supermarket or the market and just go in the vegetables and the fruit section and then just select things and make food out of it. Ready, steady, cook challenge. Like, it's not that hard. It's what you do every day. It's just don't go in the the dead animals bit and grab some of that, leave that out, and then you just carry on. It's just like, why can't we have more? And there will be, when they catch on, you know, when they catch on, and they will catch on, it'll become more popular and prolific. So, we're talking about some information here. This is one of these talking quest things, so I might just skip through it a bit. Dory's going on about Munnis. And information. I've got a password. I'll go and talk to some people. I don't know what this stuff is. When we've got to go and talk to people all the time, sometimes it's really good, and sometimes it's just wasting my time. Sarah says she feels like fake meat is for people coming off real meat, like vapes and cigarettes. Yeah, kind of, yeah. After you've been vegan for a while, some of the contexts and concepts change. Like, no one was born and said, I'd like to bite the head off a rat. Like, no one said that. So you get taught how to do things, you get taught things the right way, and like, it might seem a bit weird, but you get taught it's right, so you do it. And then when you've been vegan for a while, you're just disconnected from that. So when you see it happening, you're like, whoa, this looks a bit gruesome and horrible. You want me to eat that? Like, another example that I really like is with Terry Pratchett. He once wrote in his book about, like, it's a place in his book, but it's emulative of our world. He wrote about how these people ate whatever they could fish out of the sea in a bucket because, you know, they were hungry and there wasn't much food around, so they put the bucket in the sea, and whatever would get in the bucket, they would eat that. And like, that's kind of like the approach to certain seafoods. Is it alive? Yes. Can I sort of eat it? Probably. Go on then. Like, and some people would look at some of the things they fish out the sea and say, I don't really want to eat that. That looks a bit horrible to me. Oh, they eat that in China. Oh, I wouldn't eat it here. But it's just approaches to food and socialisation, isn't it? So when you step back from all of that and you say, in the modern world, what kind of petrol do I want to put in my car? In the modern world, what kind of materials do I want to build my house of? In the modern world, do I still want to eat the same old shit as they ate like 100 years ago because they had funny ideas about eating dead animals? Or can I like make up my own mind? So in the modern world, you look at it fresh and you say, oh, actually, I don't have to eat all these animals at all. In fact, there's no requirement to do that. And when you start to think about it, all the yuck things that you think, like if you had to do it all yourself, yeah, I mean, what am I saying? This blind leading the blind. Sorry, not blind. The preaching to the choir. I'm preaching to the choir, aren't I? Like, we all know this. This is how we feel. If you're vegan, I'm vegan. This is how we feel. So, yeah. Was that Fifth Elephant? It may have been. I think it was Witches Abroad, and it was a comment made about the people of. Is it Genoa? They go and they visit Fat Tuesday, and it's a reflection on the Deep South and Louisiana and places like that, like, you know, swamp culture, so to speak. In Witches Abroad, they go to Fat Tuesday, Mardi Gras. Yeah, I think it was that. It was just a throwaway line by Pratchett about the cuisine of the area, but, you know, it stuck with me. Enjoy your walk. I've done my double dog walk once today, but I might have to go again later. You never know. Depending on how they feel before bedtime. Oh, I was supposed to ask this man about the incident. And I've got a video to react to as well, which could take us a long time. So what I want to do is get this 3-day quest click. This is the only thing that's time sensitive, and the other event is time sensitive, so I want to look into these and then do the react, and then whatever we do after that, if we get the react might take longer than I think. So I don't want it to get out of hand. Continue looking for clues. Oh, this is a load of bollocks. Over there. If you can't sleep, you're quite welcome to come back. No one's going to sleep, are they? It was walking the dogs, what was I saying? Look, these little chiffers are eating the... They're mine. I have all them. Collecting them, I am. He wants me up this thing. This is going to be a nightmare. What am I doing? Oh. It's like a little house. Investigate. I've got to investigate. Did a little investigate. Drop down here, maybe. There's a hole in the tree. It's empty. There's nothing in it. Oh, there's a note. Naru. It's Narus and Naras. If you don't know what this means, they're little pedo bean men. They're little bean men. Ask Dory for information. Alright. Why am I messing about like this? Seems weird. All the best mimps are insomniacs, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what I cultivate, because if I was up at 8 o'clock in the morning doing an 8 o'clock show, I'd have all the early birds. But because I'm up all night doing this, I have all the insomniacs. There's a person on the internet who I'm interested in who does an early morning show, and I'm thinking we could work together because we'd cover more ground that way, if that makes sense. I want to get her in as a voice on the show, but she doesn't really know that yet, and she's not... I'm looking to actually tick more diversity boxes. She is a woman, but I'd quite like it, you know, if I'm going to be adding people to the team in today's modern world, I'd quite like it if I could tick diversity boxes, you know, not in a, like, token way, but in a sort of, I actually want to hear from these other voices, do you know what I mean? So, she is a woman, and I'm not a woman, so there's one box ticked, but... Stinky Sock says they're going to tell their doctor they can't sleep because I'm a mimp. He'll prescribe all the chicken you can eat. They will prescribe all the chicken you can eat. But I'm vegan. Do you have a big armchair? The doctors often have quite a big chair, don't they? What do you mean talks to people at the venue? It said talks to people at the venue. Then the things disappeared off my map. What do you mean? What venue? Talk to someone at the venue. 2,000 meters that way. 2,000 meters this way. At the village. To sleep, perchance to mimp. I'm the motherfucking MIMP. What possesses the man? You know, he stopped doing those songs, which is really shit, isn't it? It's really shit. I wish he'd do more. Scott and Alan sing along. That's what we should do. Why won't he get, like, do you think I should email him? Do you think I should get in touch with him and say, listen, Alan, it's time you and me came together. Let's come together right now. Oh yeah, in sweet harmony. Do you remember that?
Is it me, or are the bags under your eyes even darker than during the last round? Are you alright?
We're finishing the story or something, I don't know. Do you remember this? They didn't have many hits, did they? Probably because they did the nudity. Doing nudity in the video like this was a bit of a choice, wasn't it? Do you remember this? The nudity in the video. Bit of a choice. Kind of worked in a way. I never forgot it.
Is it right or wrong? Try to find a place we can all belong. Be as one.
Be as one.
Try to get on by.
Try to get on by. If we unify. Oh, there's the ladies.
All this time.
Oh.
Spinning round and round. Made the same mistakes that we've always found. Surely now. We could move along. Make a better world. No, it can't be wrong. Let's come together. Right now. Oh yeah. It's sweet harmony. Let's go.
I never understood myself. Like, he's there and he's naked. They're there and they're naked. Like, what's going on though? Are they in the band? Why are we naked? This is what I want me and Alan to do. I'm spoiling Genshin Impact for everyone these days. I haven't uploaded to Genshin Impact channel for a bit.
Thanks for the concern, Kaveh. I just, even though I tried, do you have any...
To be honest with you, I don't know what's...
Looks like everyone's here. I will now explain the second round to you all.
Of what?
There are 3 ley line disruptors buried in the area around Aru Village.
Oh, what?
These devices can imitate the effects of ley line disruption.
I'm going to skip through this because if we need to get on with it, I haven't got lots of time to...
What do you think? Want to team up again? I
Yes.
shall consider letting you have the points on account of what happened in...
That's all right. I've been here many...
It's good to see, but aside from us... A favorite to... Shh. He took first place. I heard that you... He already has Call as his scene.
Come on, let's get on with the quest then, whatever it is that's going on.
I'll get going as well.
Bye, Kaveh.
How are you feeling? I
Shut
think
up.
I'm okay.
Just you two
But
shut
I'll
up.
take things slowly for now.
Go on. A gangbang with loads and loads of women and one bloke.
Sorry. Well, this round, I'm so... You're welcome.
Well, there goes everybody.
He's going to be tired.
Who should we... Oh, Red!
He'll be worn out. He'll be he'll be chafing. Chafe. Oh, what are they all doing out here now? What the fuck is going on, these nutters? I honestly didn't think this was going to take this long. I can't believe there's so much content in Genshin Impact these days. Go and talk to Tignari. Where is he then? Why is he going out here? That was a mistake, if anything, because now I've got to go and find him.
Hey, Tainari!
Everyone come back.
Tainari! Huh? Weird. The locator says Tainari! Can you hear us?
Please, I'd just like to know what was going on. He's over here. Let's have a chat to him. Let's move on from this.
You're
moment.
right. Huh?
He's fainted. At least this is voice acted, so it makes me feel like it's actually a big part of it.
Oh, so you passed out because of the...
That's right. I went through all
Right, have a
my
drink and let's get
ancestors.
you moving.
This isn't...
Humans. Such fragile beings. Your body's... Here, take this. Let him drink it.
There you go. He's helped you out. Oh, nice picture. Except weird that it's pictures and not animations, but yeah, go ahead.
Are you serious? This had better be just normal water.
I'm feeling a little better.
Oh, it went...
Found you at last.
They were having a chat.
Sino, you're here too!
I was
I hate
concerned,
this.
so I came back to check on you. Will you be able to go on?
They were having a chat.
The fur on my tail is so dry. It appears I'm not suited to this particular round. I should probably just return to Aru Village and rest.
Really? So you're backing out?
Yes. I do have my results in the first round to serve as a buffer, so even if I forfeit this round, I still... Withdrawing now will allow me to conserve...
A wise decision.
It's fine. I can make it back on my...
Oh, stop!
I saw my mom and I was wearing this wig and she said, what's that wig? And I said, I'm the wig man. Alan gets cross, so I wear the wig. She was like, all right. She didn't even ask any further questions. And then she said, I've got lots of wigs upstairs in a box. So there's more wigs coming because my mom's got lots of wigs upstairs in a box. So bring Tignari back so he can rest. What? Go there, it says. I'll just go there. But actually, where was he? Because I saw that down here there was a mechanism somewhere, so I want to mark that on the map. Bring him back here, specifically here. No, underneath. I mean, it must need to go underneath then, yeah? Yeah. Yeah. Here she is, under here.
How are you feeling now, Tainari? Do you want to rest some more?
There's some shade here. All right.
Wigman True Crime. I'll start a new channel. Wigman True Crime. God, could you imagine? It would make him so angry. All I'd have to do is do one video a week of just short Wigman true crime. I'd pick the most gruesome, horrible fucking stories that are in the news. They get the most traction on YouTube. Wigman true crime.
Sino and Tainari. And you've got the Traveler and Paimon with you.
I should stop giving him ideas.
Oh, hey! Yeah, what about you?
Unfortunately, I believe the rule. Didn't I ask you? Well, when I get back. By the way.
Be careful. Don't.
Feeling the pressure.
Uh-huh.
Your
To tell you, most people, even the
So they're to be complete. Firstly, next we are. As for me, I think you can. I've still got. No, I'll. Yes. Hey, don't. I'll continue searching for.
Are you feeling better now, Layla? Yeah, I feel like it's been a long time since I first left my hometown to come.
These would shut up.
When I was chosen as my Darshan. Yeah, you're our. That's right. That's.
So we're learning about the characters here, but I don't really.
Anyway, true. We should go look for the. You could go see how Madam. Okay, let's go look.
Good. Wigman, what I could do is I could do it. You know, there's. I really don't want to talk about this because Alan will get ideas. I don't know how far deep he watches our content, but there are other apps, and you can say things on them. In fact, I won't name them, so that'll make it harder for him to. But there are other apps where you can stream, and there's a couple that like big streamers from Twitch moved over to, and you can make money on them, and you can say things. So when I say things, like, you know, things that will get you binned off YouTube. And there's probably a space for true crime on that, because there are some things you can't really discuss on YouTube because of true crime. You can just speak freely on these other apps. That's their selling point. The negative is, it's like a harbour for idiots and trolls and the right wing, and, you know, everyone that got kicked off YouTube is now on these apps. So, but there are these, you know, they do exist. So, look, who's over here? Just having a little chat. These two, look. What are you doing, you chuffers? What does it want me to do? It wants me to talk to Faruzan now. So I could do my Wigman True Crime over there, and it could just be like the worst fucking channel ever. Be like my alter ego.
Faruzan, have you made any progress?
You're.
Oh.
Such a. Not long
We're
after.
going to go through the
once I
story
got
process and then maybe do some
Well,
action, so I just want to skip this.
Well then, I suppose I'll be the first. Oh?
He's not you.
Huh. Like, what about the other?
Tainari gave way.
And what about Kaveh?
Paimon doesn't think.
Strange. Well, I'm a.
Thanks. Observe and record the circumstances surrounding Kaveh. Fucking mess me about all the time.
I see everything.
I'm not climbing that to pick that. I'm going to use my special talent. Where's Kaveh? Where is he? Like, where is he though? There he is. Run for Kaveh, run for Kaveh, run for Kaveh, run for Kaveh. Kaveh. Where are you, Nutter? Over here. Like, where are you though, Kaveh? Why are you so far away? Her little feet get hot on the sand. Doody 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 doo doo. If you think I'm stopping to fight you, you got another thing coming. Doody doo doo doo. You watched a bit of New York City Dolls. She was so funny. Weeing on camera. I'm going to wipe my Toto. Yeah, the word Toto. I said the word Toto powder the other day, and they love that.
Me. I already gave you all the food I had on me.
I don't know about the weeing on camera. I look away from that bit. But I guess my feeling on it is that if you're, like, you know, a bunch of girls out on the town and you go to the toilet together, I don't know what goes on in there.
You can cry all you want. I don't have any more food. All I have left is a half bottle of water, and I can't possibly give you that. Without water, traveling in the desert will be incredibly difficult, and I still need to find what I'm looking for.
Interesting. Peachy thinks he won't be on Twitch and he won't hear us here because he doesn't have the technology. Maybe. I don't know.
Merak, can you help me out here?
Maybe one of
Keep
his
them
flying
away.
monkeys will be here. Keeping an eye.
Kaveh, there you are.
His little suitcase is working for him.
To come see how you're doing.
I don't know why, but they didn't leave the moment they...
His little chuffers are running around after his suitcase.
Hey, didn't I ask you to keep them away?
Suitcase isn't doing its job. Magic suitcase.
Flying metal thingy.
That's right.
That's his suitcase. It's not a toolbox, it's a suitcase. Shut up. Briefcase. Briefcase. I'm not having it that it's a character on its own.
Well, this definitely doesn't.
It's a long story. It was
a briefcase.
clearly our current
I don't
theories.
all it is a
Sometime back,
briefcase.
it can't understand. Most importantly,
I'm not giving it a character. It's not having eyes and a character. It can fuck off. It's not having eyes. Beep boop. It can fuck off. It's not voice acted. It's not having eyes and a personality. I don't want that. Fuck off.
Oh, yes. Thanks for helping hide the fact that I live at Al-Hayth.
R2 fucking briefcase.
Or maybe it's now that I think about it, it's not like any of you act.
Kaveh, aren't you going to look?
Yes, but oh, forget it. Time's a wasting. I'm off.
He's run off, so that's good. The briefcase is following him. He doesn't even have to carry the fucking thing.
He's conflicted.
I don't care what he's conflicted.
Paimon's always felt like he's the Paimon doesn't mean this.
Paimon, if this was an important story beat,
he's
gonna have to wait.
the kind of guy who'd be really easy to take advantage of.
Oh, we're learning about him. I get it. He's naive.
Someone's done already.
That was quick.
Right? Wonder.
Because this is what it is. This is the final part of this story quest of this quest I've been on. This whatever thing it is. I'm the observer of their little competition. Everyone's out doing their things, and I don't really, I've already finished all the rewards. This is just like the icing on the cake, and it's only got 3 days left on it, so I have to do it. And this isn't even the new thing that I wanted to get started, so I wish they would just get on with it. And there should be a skip button, and there's not. I won't moan anymore. Verification complete.
Ooh, so Sino was the quickest.
Good one, Sino. Well done.
Since the Traveler and Paimon also happen to be here, do you have anything you want to say?
No.
Anything the bonds of yesterday
Oh,
will
do stop it.
That's a line.
It might be a good thing that.
Oh wow, it's already so late.
Something simple.
Any thoughts?
Deserts are much more dangerous at night, so this competition should be nearing.
I wonder who the next.
Wait, only 3 people are left.
He also forfeited not long ago.
Oh, I see. It's like a stay out there as long as you can competition.
But
Observe and record the circumstances. Oh my god. Are you fucking kidding me? How do I shut down
Stay
chat?
close.
What?
No going off on your own. The desert doesn't take prisoners.
I don't know how to shut down chat. I think chat's like a feature of this. We're going to be watching a video in a minute, and we're going to be reacting to it as well. I don't know if anyone actually... I don't know how many of you have played... What am I doing now? Where is she? There she is. No, wait. There she is. There she is. What are you doing?
hello again.
Come on.
It's suddenly real. The desert's, Sino's already but I did have the but be that as, and I want, that may not, well, that's great. Also, but the wait, you're, good, well, let me, come with me, you two.
I don't know how to work Twitch that well.
Do you ever get the feeling that the ley lines have a regular flow, similar to the way that celestial bodies follow fixed orbits? If we were looking down from on high, I wonder whether we'd find that the ley lines are just the reflections of the stars upon the Earth. Not all astrological phenomena can be directly observed. Some are deductions based on other details that we know. It's the same situation with the ley lines. The parts of them that are hidden underground can be identified via elemental energy, sound, and other phenomena.
She's stopped again.
Plus, now that someone has shut one of the disruptors down, the contrast between before and after can provide me with further information still. Let me see. It should be here, I think.
Stop running around and just get on with it, you fucking chuffer. There we go. I think.
This should be it, right?
Right.
Nice work!
Well done.
Again, I didn't do any of the real work.
Okay.
I'm just chill kinda. Perhaps they're about before the second, but the way Kaveh, he does. I don't still.
Awful lot of talking there.
Kaveh and Faruzan were super
I've still got to talk to two more of them. Thank God they put them next to each other. Thank God. Hopefully this will be 2 in 1 now, because I couldn't imagine having to do 2 more conversations.
But between the 2 of them, who's going to get there first? Let's head over quick.
I suppose to some people they really like this part of the game, all the chatting with the characters. But I can't keep moaning about it. It's just it keeps happening, so I feel like reacting to what I'm seeing.
It should be around
Sarah's
here.
back from the walk. We're still chatting to these chuffers about their chuffing whatever this is.
Kaveh? Are you?
Oh, Madame Faruzan. And here I thought you would have finished this round by now.
Faruzan, Kaveh! Oh!
I didn't expect
Tainarian,
Yes. I fell down.
That's...
finishing a week's worth of trials and...
What about you?
I encountered a lot. When I woke up, it was all...
A most curious reason indeed. But are you sure you're all right? You said you were familiar.
The way I did things wasn't optimal, but I wouldn't have been comfortable not doing it either.
Youths these days. But back to the main issue at hand. Since we are both very certain that this is where the final leyline disruptor is, let's dig it up then.
Maybe I might have to do something.
Well,
There it is.
what is it, youngster?
Oh, nothing. I was just thinking that there shouldn't be any more innocent creatures getting wrapped up in danger. As for the points...
Alright, in that case, let's all head back to Aru Village.
So it's just a big run around and talk to people. Go back to the village.
Looks like the second round is over. I wonder who is
I know.
faster, Kaveh or Madame Faruzan?
I don't care.
Huh?
Simply do not care.
Faruzan?
She went to get water.
Jumped
I'm
off.
not caught.
Really?
I'll
Still
go
in
get the
the-
box and slips of paper for the lots. Please wait a moment.
Oh, here we go again.
There she is. And Kaveh.
I got
Hey,
it.
yay.
Did you see that? I won!
Who cares?
Congratulations.
Looks like Kaveh's...
Fine.
It looks like you've been...
And with that, as for the current stand, Sino and Layla booked the next round. I heard that
Next
some stores
round?
at the Wisdom Gala are debuting new games. So feel free to drop by if you're interested. Otherwise, see you next round.
Does it never end? I mean, I've got some stuff for completing the quest, yeah, so you have to keep doing it, but... Am I... Whatevs. Whatevs. I'll do it. I'll do it. Got to talk to this chuffer. Hopefully this round is like the combat round and I can get involved. He's talking about his friend. Something that happened 20 years ago. So now I've got to go to the academia to look for his friend and talk about what happened 20 years ago. Because he can't do it himself. because he's a lazy chuffer and he needs me to do it, which, to be honest, is getting right on my wick. I'm running errands for this chuffer now. Get to see Sit again, though. You're right, Sit. Look, her name's Sit. Someone get her a chair. That's a good one. I thought it was a good one. Weekass. We're talking to Weekass. He's telling us about what happened 20 years ago, and I really just don't care. If it's not main story, if it's like something to do with this event thing, it's just like extra story that's been shoehorned in to make my time disappear so that I can sit and read it. I'm not reading it. If you're not going to voice act, I mean, the other stuff was voice acted. I didn't even bother to listen to that. So you think I'm reading this? Curious Cat's binning it off. We'll react to the video in a minute. That's coming up. The big reacting to the video bit after I get through with this busy work on this game. Or we could talk about stuff if you want. I don't know. No, it's alright. You go to nights. It's fine. Although seriously, you know, there's a lot of content that you should be watching. We're not busy. Oh, wait. Before we go, should we just quickly have a quick check on the A-Lord? Should we have a quick check on the A-Lord? See how he's doing. How's the A-Lord doing? He's got 500 watching. He could be doing better.
Has anybody here, and there's like...
But it's quite a lot.
People, 600 people.
500.
Were any of you told she was driving a black Mercedes and a number plate? Any of you? Because how do you expect people to come up with doorbell cam?
She wasn't...
Dash cam.
She wasn't driving this car. Like, she parked the car and then she was off on foot, wasn't she? That's the...
Bloody car.
This is live, yeah. Sarah, this is live, yeah. He gets. I noticed he gets help on this car and the registration stuff. The reason they didn't give us that is because they weren't looking for her car. They found her car. They were looking for her.
This is the worst one. I'm ashamed of my police force.
Oh no, he's doing my take.
Of the creators that back this police force.
He's doing my take. I'm ashamed of the police force, but they should do better.
They didn't do their job here.
Do your job. That's exactly what I said yesterday, isn't it? Those are my exact words. I wish they would do their job. I don't need reassurance. I want you to do your job.
Did the police give you a full description of Nicola Bully's car and number plate? Yes or no?
You know, he's literally trying to do the episode that I wanted to do in the future. But I wouldn't have done it like this, and I will do it, and I won't do it like this.
Plate was, yes or no?
Like, remember, I actually say it like a number of times. What's the most requested video on my Nicola Bully content? Is can you do a response to the police? Yes, I'll be doing a response to the police response. I saw the photo of Nicola holding the phone, yeah, the thumbnail. It's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? Let's see if he's got any grimy at the start. Let's see if he's eggy at the start.
Hello. I am the armchair detective.
I am the armchair detective, the real one.
Hello, old friends and new friends. Hello, subscribers and haters. Hello, everyone. Hello, moderators. I had something said to me today, like, why are you going on about this case? And I had the same thing in the Madeleine McCann case and the same thing in the Kylie Rodney case.
Because that's what your modus operandi is you get a hold of something on YouTube that perks the algorithm that these people are interested in and you fucking beat the life out of it. You beat the life out of it. You wring every penny out of it. And you, because like, unlike other true crime channels that can cover a range of different, like when you do other stuff, you just don't get the views. People just don't care. For some reason, these certain cases, Madeleine McCann, you know, there's a lot of intrigue, isn't there, still? Although we kind of know what happened, there's a lot of intrigue. And I don't know about the Kelly Rodney and the Chris Watts case. You know, wasn't on the true crime scene for those. They're more American as well, aren't they, I think? But it's obvious. It's your modus operandi. You get on that and you beat the life out of it, don't you?
And the same thing in the Carly Gousset case, and the same thing in the Watts case. And I come to the conclusion, right? People with something to hide.
Little burp.
People
with that.
And I come to the conclusion, right?
Alan's burp.
In the Watts case.
Alan's little burp, just like Darkside Phil.
And I come to the conclusion, right? people with something to hide have a lot of friends who seem to work tirelessly to shut people up, right? And I only see it when it's a case that's controversial, right? I don't.
He's paranoid now. Now it's behind the scenes. They've got lots of money and then lots of fake accounts. They're trying to shut Alan down. So he better not shut up, because the people, the bad people behind the scenes, he's a conspiracy nutter. The bad people behind the scenes are trying to shut Alan down. That's why they think that it's distasteful that he should grift off the death of this woman.
See it, where it's open and shut case, right? Supposing man goes into Mao and shoots 36 people dead, right? And you make a video about it, you don't end up with loads of trolls. No. You talk about it, you don't get any trolls.
What? You're not doing videos like that?
Dead. Let him rest in peace. Leave him
36
alone.
dead. What?
Look at that.
What?
It's only when people have got something to hide.
No.
Trolls.
No, what it is, Alan, is if you did one video on a topic, you don't get loads of trolls. You've done your video on the topic. But if you did that video again next week, and then you did like 36 dead, where did he get the bullets? 36 dead, was this really his hat? 36 dead, like, who's his favourite basketball player? Like, it would just it would seem like you're just ringing it out for money. Like, you're not really saying anything special, that you're just sort of filling an hour for money. And you're using the basic premise of 36 dead. Like, so that it's different, isn't it, Alan? Because you only did one video or no videos on that topic. But here, we're talking again about the same thing, day in, day out. You're the Nicola Bully. You know, if you want to have a conversation about Nicola Bully, Alan's having it today for money again. Like, and, you know, no shame. no low too low for Alan. Today, he's been photoshopping her face onto a picture of someone holding a phone.
In my opinion. And the more they got to hide, the more trolls you get. And the closer you get, the digger they go into you.
The digger they go into you. The closer you get, the digger they go into you. With the tongue out. So, it's interesting that Alan, his people have been coming to our channel to troll. He's not getting a lot of... Alan's not getting, like, in his chat... I mean, I don't know what's going on in his chat because people aren't even allowed to say anything, but Alan's not getting, like, a lot of trolling. He's got me making my videos and holding him to account. He's got Truth Justice doing the same, making videos and holding him to account. We've got Martin Dean making videos, holding him to account. We've got Lizzie Taylor. We've got Genetic Code making videos, keeping him to account. No, he's not getting, like, it's not like he's got people, like, giving him the trouble. He's making up a fake false narrative now, and he's spinning some weird conspiracy. And what it's designed to do is to, like, rally the group. Oh, you know, Alan's a threat from these evil shadow people and we need to protect him. Like, what a weird manipulation.
And if you get too close, they get you closed down or sue you. Or do anything to shut you up. Make up lies about you. Open up channels about you.
Open up channels about you. Make up lies about you. We use the things you broadcast on the internet and the facts that are public about you, and we state them and they make you look really bad. There's no lies being made up over here, you chuffer.
And then if you are good at what you do, other channels are jealous and they want your subscribers. So they try to put you down so you will not watch me, you'll go and watch them.
You can get that out of your head. Like, the people that you've got left, the people you've got left over there, I'm happy that they're not on my channel. A few of them came over, they didn't make it any better. But the few of you that are in there that are good, you know, you are welcome on my channel. Don't ever get that wrong. I'm only making a joke there. You are welcome. The few of you in there are good. But Alan's making out like I'm jealous of him and his position. 80,000 subscribers, 500 people on his live. So he's not doing that well. I'm not using his content. He's using mine. Like, he's got that twisted, and this is classic narcissism. Like, how narcissistic does this sound? My defence against these people that are saying these things about me and using my words and showing me up to be an arsehole and an arrogant grifter. My defence is they want to be me. I'm not saying I'm a narcissist, but they want to be me. And it's flipping it, isn't it? He wants to be me. He would desperately love to have had the insights that we've had, some of the things we've come up with in our chat. He's then broadcast on his channel, like, their ideas he's had. Like, he would desperately love, wouldn't he, to be on the rise, to be some, like, a lot of people in our chat saying good things, a lot of people are leaving nice comments. Like, Alan would love to be in our position where he have that insight, but he doesn't have that. He doesn't have that insight, does he? he rips things off people. Like people even in his own chat, they'll say something and now it's his idea. It's like he's twisted it and made it the other way around. It's a very interesting manipulation by a narcissist. But the reason you can spot he's a narcissist is because his defense is, I want to be him.
And it's so...
I mean, look at him.
obvious. You can see it all the time. In any case I do. Jealousy. Let's dehumanize him. Let's ruin his reputation. Let's call him an idiot, right?
I didn't have to ruin his reputation. He already ruined his own reputation. I've just brought it to light, the things he's done.
But obviously you don't fall for it, 'cause I get...
I mean, I not even brought it to light. I just watch videos on his channel and react to them. And we're doing it now. Like, he's ruining his own reputation now.
the biggest figures of people watching.
He doesn't get the biggest figures. I get bigger figures than him.
Which annoys them no end. But what I'm saying is...
I mean, even if I didn't, it's not really like, you know... Like, we know that a lot of people that watch Alan are only watching because he's an idiot. And we know that he's not getting the biggest figures on YouTube, don't we? Like, he's got this, like, weird little niche of, like, certain people that make certain videos about certain true crime subjects. He gets the biggest videos out of them. But if you just look a bit wider, like YouTube, he's not getting the biggest videos. Like, it's not me and Alan and Jizzy Crime and Truth Justice is one of his trolls, isn't it? It's who's the other one? Like Penny Bunny or something. You know, it's not like we're a special group and it's who's got the most videos out of us. We're all on YouTube. Like, what are you on about?
In this case.
And like, when you look at his channel, he's not getting, like, things are not going that well for him.
There's a few people that are trying to give us answers, but they're trying too friggin' hard. Overkill.
I don't know exactly who he's talking about because he could be popping up at the other channels now.
Really, really. This is what really, really, really happened. And I think
I think he could be popping at Michelle After Dark, who seems to think that Nicola fell in the water.
people are so good at it that the police are scared not to
He just did some of his poker tells, touching his ears and stuff.
believe them. It's almost like, yep, okay, whatever they say to the police, yep, okay, yep, all right then, yep. I thought police were supposed to be investigators, not the plods, not like Sally, they just do their job. No, the detectives, like
You.
Becky Smith, who was a really good detective.
Like you.
And solved many a drugs crime in
Like
that
you're
area.
a detective.
Yet she's not doing the investigation that she's famous for. And to me, that's a red flag.
Red
so
flag.
you've got the police not doing what they can do,
Using our
and
language.
you've got certain people manipulating the police,
Now we're off onto this police thing.
and certain people. So I haven't got a load of reporters, but they're being in the same pot. Like this.
Oh, there we go. Snowden. Unbelievable, isn't it? Didn't I say it on my episode yesterday? Now that I've shown him where the honey hole is, he's going to be talking about Snowden. Unbelievable. He's like predictable. Not just unbelievable, but totally predictable. And then he's on to his video now. You know, and then he's reacting to his own video.
This is before she went missing. He went round her house with a health official and a police officer and an ambulance. He forgot to switch it on.
Body count. This is what we covered yesterday.
Are you happy with the January the 10th investigation result?
Wow. So his actual, you know, I said I wanted to do an episode and say my episode is going to be my response to the police, and they're like, what he's done is he's given the headline as if he's doing the video that I'm going to do in the future. I keep saying, you know, there's one more Nicola Bully video I want to do, which is reacting to the police. He's given the headline, but his content is what we said yesterday.
It may be that the officer will ask to conduct inquiries to trace the missing person. Checking with known associates and local contacts.
Reading what he's on his phone, reading what the you know, can't think of the word. You know, the protocol for dealing with the missing persons.
Or was it? Based on witness, not based on evidence, before it started. Just put a pair of shoes by the water and say, I'm building a pretty poor picture of the investigation.
You've done nothing.
They told you were speculative and like armchair detectives and TikTok detectives and wasting their time, right? They can't even get the description right. Our hypothesis is, not theory, our hypothesis is that Nicola Bully walked in the water, fell in the water.
He's just rambling. You know, it's nothing new here, is there? It's nothing burger.
They got like a few things right early on. They asked a few questions.
It's nothing burger.
I'm not here to mince my words. I'm not here to lie to you.
He's been on live stream there over an hour. He's not there to mince his words.
I'm not interested in conspiracies. I'm telling you.
No conspiracies.
I've been doing crime for 25, 30 years.
Mm-hmm. That's true. You've been doing crime for 25, 30 years. Yeah, you got caught doing the tax swindle. Disqualified.
It's procedure. I've been doing crime for 25, 30 years.
Not solving crimes, doing crimes. Committing them.
They didn't tell you the car, did they? Has anybody here, and there's like, I don't know how many people, 600 people.
It was 500.
Were any of you told she was driving a black Mercedes?
And that's, you know, that rubbish.
Anniversary. This is right. But they don't care because they said she's in the river and they're not doing anything.
The thing is, what it is people are just hungry for someone to be online talking about Nicola Bully, and he's giving them a regurgitation of all the old shit that they've all heard before. So I don't know who really is turning up to listen to this, but why? Like, they're just that into the Nicola Bully thing, aren't they? Like, I think if someone else was doing a live stream about Nicola Bully at the same time, Alan would lose some viewers to that live stream, because I don't think they're there for Alan, are they? They're there for Nicola Bully and the Nicola Bully story, and they think maybe they'll get, like, if they listen to every video that everyone does, then, oh, there's Englishman. Look, Englishman is one of his people. He's like a member of their chat. Do you remember Englishman was trolling us yesterday? I had to put him in timeout and then ban him. He's one of his members. Weird. Maybe they are there for... Well, he was certainly there for us yesterday. Like, I don't know, man. I think this is weird. Like, I don't see the appeal myself.
I won't tell you the answer. I know the...
I mean, obviously, I see straight through him as a weird narcissist.
I only give them the point because they made a point in telling you.
No, he's just trying to fill time.
They did press conferences, but not the right ones. They did their own press conference that didn't include anybody else.
No, just filling time. In fact, like I said, I don't want to listen to his points necessarily, because if I say anything and it overlaps, then he's going to say, oh, he's took my ideas. This time he's took my ideas, because he's desperate to try and get in front of what I'm about to do. But, like, yeah, it's a waste of time, isn't it? I hoped he might have had a bigger pop at, like, you know, a bigger pop at us, a bigger chat about that. He's not even interested in doing that because he's such a sad act. Like, he's too scared of it. He's too scared to mention us by name now. I told him initially, day one, when he took my stuff, the first interaction, I said, take that video down. In a comment, take that video down. And he was like, if you want me to take it down, I'll take it down. I was like, take it down. And like, he took it down. I was like, all right, well done for taking it down. Now keep my name out of your mouth and my content off your channel. He's managed to keep my name out of his mouth. Calls me wigman. But keep my content off his channel. Still not again. No. Still watched my video yesterday and read it out again today, didn't you, Alan? Some of it. Still nicking the odd idea here and there. I still said yesterday that my next video is going to be my response to the police, and that's your current attempt today. But you're doing a really bad job, so look out for mine next week. There might be some stuff that you want to take from that, Alan. But otherwise, this has been a nothing burger. So, you know, Alan in review today, and nothing burger.
It's just been investigated. A multi-agency response car that didn't switch on the camera.
Yeah, just going to go over and over that again, isn't he? And I don't understand what they're getting out of it myself. Really, I really don't, because I don't think he's a nice person. I don't think he has any original ideas. I think he's a malicious narcissist who grifts off people and manipulates them. And I think that... Oh, he's gone herky-jerky.
That's me being friendly. I asked you, were you happy with the police on a number of different points? And it's 9-3 that you're not happy.
And I feel like he's almost taking my same sort of stance as well. You know, yesterday I was kind of provocative and confrontational, like, oh, we shouldn't be standing from this from the police. It's almost like he's getting tough now, like when I got tough. So it feels a little bit like he is so devoid of ideas that he has to ape off others. And when it's happening to you and it's you that's being aped, It's a strange feeling because to see the things that I've done reportrayed by this strange old man, and he's not strange, he's doing it maliciously as a grift. Never feel sad for him and like, oh, poor Alan, or sad for Alan, like he's now going to use this dead woman and her memory to try and grift some money out of people who feel like the people he's grifting are the ones that feel like they don't feel about Alan, they feel about this woman, don't they, really? And it's kind of like not very nice. Yeah, enough of him. Away with that rubbish. I'm going to turn that off. It's just interesting to see what he was doing, and it was shit, wasn't it? It was fucking awful. Carry on with what we're doing. That's going to be better. Because we do the Nicola Bulley stuff as well, right? There was nothing in that, was there? There was no interesting information he said there. I skipped through it, obviously, but he had nothing to say. Like, he was like, did you think the police did a good job? No. So. What am I doing now? Oh, that's gone now, that thing. That quest, so I think I finished it. Whatever that was, the timed quest. I skipped through it all so I wouldn't know what was going on anyway. So I think I just finished it by talking to Suhab. I think I just finished it. These are the final notes. I'm not reading them. Fuck that. I need to bang some resin. What day is it? It's not even the weekend, is it? So I don't need to stress too much about resin spend. We'll just go and... I've actually been getting some decent artifacts, actually. Let me show you... Well, no one cares here. I'll wait till Crawl's around before I show you my artifacts. But for just spending some resin, I'm going to go and bang... what are we on today? Prosperity. Actually, I need more than anything. I need Mora at the moment because I'm on a big push for high-level characters, and it's Mora intensive. So I should really do this. You alright in chat? Yeah. And after I've done this, then we'll get on and watch this video about Zelda, because that is something I definitely want to do tonight before tomorrow. It needs to be uploaded before we start playing the game tomorrow.
Let's get it on! Hi!
It's all kicked off now all of a sudden.
Time to go!
Hey! The Temple of Wisdom!
You're dead meat!
Just great.
Warren!
Here's the goods! This way, turn a little.
What's it doing over there?
Higher, higher, hands on fire!
There's another one. Shit.
Warren's mine! Everyone hold hands!
This one's going to need to come down.
Make yourselves at home!
Let's get it on! Gloves off!
Protect the
Don't like fighting on the edge of the cliff. This is dangerous.
Let's get it on!
Committed to memory.
Got it. Thank you. I didn't have any condensed. Are you mad? I think... did that seem negative? I don't know if she was, but it could be a fake account, you're right. But she also might have joined recently because of coming over from YouTube. So I thought it was actually, ACW from YouTube, but it might not have been. You're right. Well, I think she's alright. Is he in the room? Be kind, Super Chuffer. She hadn't said anything too negative. I think it's alright. I've accidentally pinned someone's comment now, so... I thought it was ACW from YouTube, yeah. I thought it was. Following since 2 hours ago, created 8th of May. No, I think it is. I think it is. And there's no way of actually verifying it really, but I think over time you'll see that it probably is. Maybe it's just a cross wires one. Sometimes the wires get crossed in the chats a bit. I pinned your comment, yeah. I pinned your comment. And I know it's... I'll tell you what, this is Alan's people doing this to us, is trying to make us feel paranoid. Alan was feeling paranoid. You don't have to worry about it. When it gets to that level, it's best just to not worry about it. Like I said, even with the stalking stuff, if someone wanted to be hiding in the bushes, fuck them, they're outside hiding in my bushes, I'll take him a cup of coffee or something to keep them warm because it's going to be cold out there. I assume you are ACW. I think it's just, crossed wires. Don't worry, yeah, but I understand why Peachy feels like this is because we've had trolling in the channel recently. We've had trolling in the main channel, and people can just make new accounts and pretend to be people. So that I wouldn't put that past those chuffers. So I can see why you feel like it, but when you start getting on those levels of like I wouldn't. Alan, it's weird with his people, right? I will say this, even though we're not doing this now on the screen, but Alan does, he talks them on the edge of conspiracy, doesn't he? He talks them onto the edge of conspiracy. He takes them, you know how I say in our channel, I don't want to take you by the hand and lead you down a dark alley and leave you there? We always try and cheer up at the end. Alan talks his people into a bit of confusion, so they don't know who to trust, and they can only trust Alan, and there's people out to get them. He did it today, I just showed you a minute ago, he was on his channel saying that there are people trying to get him and shut him down. So they feel threatened and they feel insecure. That's part of the manipulation. So that edge that they have, it makes you worry about them, and it makes you now feel worried. It's like gaslighting. I don't think gaslighting's the right word actually, is it? Gaslighting's making you think that you think the wrong thing that you might have thought. It's a form of manipulation though. It's to add in this I know that you're ACW, yeah, no, it was just like Peachy was a bit worried that somebody might be making fake accounts. It's fine, it's all good. But it adds in this like soupçon, this soupçon, I don't know if I'm using the right words. Alan's people add in a spice of unpredictability in that level because we're not thinking on that level, but they are, because Alan's twisting their heads. So yeah, it's all good. You're all good. Why am I talking to Catherine? I'm supposed to be condensing resin, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I really should be pushing out the quests, but I don't think we're going to get that done tonight. So I've condensed the resin. That's 10 days on that. I've done my dailies and my messing about, and I've finished the stuff that was time sensitive. Because I figured that when I start playing... Obviously, I'm going to still have to play Genshin Impact every day, aren't I? But when I start playing Zelda, what I need to do is I need to get up early in the morning and play Zelda in the morning. And then it fits into my schedule as an extra thing that I don't usually get up in the morning and stream.
This realm.
So if I start doing that, then there's extra time then. You know, that's the truth of it. That's how I fit it in. And then I don't have to worry about playing a bit of Genshin in the evening, or a bit of Zelda if I feel like it as well, or whatever. But trying to switch some of my stream schedule out and fit in Zelda might be difficult, but, you know, Zelda's going to be big, so it's got to be done. Thanks, Tubby. Goodbye, Tubby. Tubby in the teapot. Let's head back to Mondstadt. Good night, ACW. I hope you're alright with that. Like, you know, it's been a bit of a monster, hasn't it? You had people like being funny in chat the other day as well, but from Alan's stuff. So I hope everything's alright. Like, you know, everyone here is your friend. Don't worry. It's just they were concerned because of Alan's weird chat people, but we'll get over that. Like,
Huh?
you're all good.
No. Oh, fine.
No, yeah, I don't think she's upset. I think it's just like, you know, I was saying it again because I'm, you know, bring it up again because I'm an idiot.
What happened this time?
We'll do a couple of wishes before we leave this. Yeah, it's only human. Yeah, I understand the, you know, the thought process, and we're all good. Yeah. Before we leave Mondstadt, got some free wishes. 4 free wishes, and it's quite possible we could get something out of these free wishes because we're 5 deep on a pity. So let's see if we get something nice with our free wishes. We are in Mondstadt, so you never know. We could maybe get a Mondstadt character, maybe even a Jean if I'm lucky. Like, that'd be really lucky. You know, I shouldn't call it because if I call it, it's probably not going to happen. But oh, it's not Jean. That's alright. I mean, I've already got her. You get this character free in the game anyway, but it's nice to put on another star on the constellation of a solid character that we've... In the game, we've used Jiangling. We've used Jiangling a lot in the early part of the game, and then we've got lots of other new characters, and we filled her space on the squad, but she's still a core character, and like this image of her says it all, you know. This image of her says it all. She's fiery and fun, like lively. She's the hot chef, and the big spear, the little goober thing doing the fire, like nice smiley face. Happy with the character. I think it's a great character, and that adds. So what that is now, that adds to my constellation. Where is she? Yeah, she is. And she's already got 2, so now we've got Deep Fry. Increases the level of Pyronado by 3. That's good. That's solid. Oosh. I'll take it. She's got the base level 1. What? No, it's because we've been given... She's always had the good Dragon's Bane. We'll switch it back for a second. That's her weapon. I gave it to Hu Tao because we got Hu Tao, but this is what happens. You know, this character got put by the wayside for the better characters that came in and took her place, but with the good weapon, her attributes, her artifacts, look at this, you'll think this is funny if you know what's going on. These artifacts are terrible. But her attributes, she's 80 of 90, friendship level 10. We could take her all the way to the top. And with the right weapon in her hands, she can do a bit of damage. But now she can do even more damage, so I should really reconsider her talents and her artifacts. Her talents are up to 7s. They can go higher now as well. maybe. They can, so I should be pushing her to the tippy top because I've got constellations on her now. Quite happy with that. I'm going to swap the weapon back. That was good. Those wishes were good. Nice. So now, what I want to do, and we can come back to Genshin Impact in a bit, I can do some more grinding on it in a bit, but I want to make sure we've got enough time to do this, which is Mad Season. I don't know if you probably don't know who Mad Season is, do you? In chat. Do you know Mad Season? Oh, look at that. Punch the Narrative's gifted a tier sub. That's really nice. Thanks very much, Punch the Narrative. It doesn't come up on the screen like with a thing, but I'm telling you it's happening and it's in there in the chat. So I'm really grateful for that. Thanks. No, it's nice that we get Strubs over here as well. And everyone, I remind Come back. Come back. I'm back. 1, 2. I'm back. Yeah, okay. It was my software that I use for streaming. It's called OBS, Open Broadcast Software, and it just like had a seizure and like stopped, and now it's back. So it's back. So that's good. And we were just saying thank you for the gifted subs, and what I was going to do is I was going to try and get the chat up on screen a bit. So if I use my brain for this, if I can use my brain for this, I'm just going to rearrange this a little bit because we're going to watch a video, so I'm just going to make me smaller. I'd also ask the question, do you know who Mad Season is? Do you know who Mad Season is? Mad Season used to make these videos about World of Warcraft. So if I switch to most popular, they're about World of Warcraft, like, and you'll be like, what, World of Warcraft? But now they've branched out into just more general chit chat. But I'll play a little bit of one of their early videos so you get to see who they are while I rearrange the frame and try and get the chat on screen as well. So this is, and I've watched, bear in mind, I've watched like all of the Mad Season videos and I've never played World of Warcraft. But
it's your Wall's birthday. Only now.
It's just his voice. Like, you know how people like my voice? Check this out.
Hey guys, what's up? Mad Season here, back with another video for you. Over the years of World of Warcraft's lifespan, there have been some players or moments that have stood out from the rest, either in a good way or a bad way. So in this video, I thought I'd take a step out of the game for a moment and talk about some of the more famous or infamous players of World of Warcraft. I won't really include YouTube content creators because that's a little boring, I think. Instead, I want to focus on the people who were involved in some interesting or some funny in-game event. People who left such an impression that they have in-game references or items named after them. So, let's get into it. These are the most famous or infamous players of World of Warcraft. Number 1. Gedren the Dwarf and his Dwarven hand cannon. Out of boredom, one day Gedren went to go exploring in the Deep Run tram that connects Stormwind to Ironforge, and he came upon a, interesting scene. You see, Gedren was on a role-playing realm, and he came upon two Night Elves in the middle of a very special roleplay, Enotep and Artemisa. Hey, nothing says romance like a dark, dank corner of a public transit station. Enotep settles for nothing less than the top, high-class venues to engage in cyber-diddling. The hairy dwarf skulked the shadows, assessing the situation from afar. And, seizing the moment, Gedren decided to join in. He emerged from the shadows and interjected himself into their intimate, role-playing experience. He tried his best, but for some reason, he was rejected from joining in. Enotep didn't roll that way apparently, so Gedren quickly retreated into the shadows to watch from a safe distance from Enotep's roaming fingers. But the moment had passed. Before Gedren could even whip out his Dwarven hand cannon, Artemisa took her leave. In fact, she walked her butt all the way back to Ironforge. Uber didn't exist back then apparently. Enotep, not too pleased with this turn of events, prepared to take his leave as well. No one stands in the way of a Night Elf and his E-action. He re-equipped his clothing and verbally bombasted the dirty dwarf for dropping in uninvited. Feeling remorse for ruining the moment, Gedren offered an apology, but it wasn't taken. He had done quite enough, and Enotep walked off into the sunset, never to be seen again. For number 2.
So he made these there you go. He made videos about, that was a really weird example, but he made videos about World of Warcraft, the players, the game, the things within it. And then what happened was World of Warcraft went down the pan a bit. And like, whilst his videos were really popular, like there was this moment in World of Warcraft where the whole point of the, I mean, this video, what we're about to do now is not about World of Warcraft. So I'm just explaining where this content creator came from. So you like his voice? Yeah, his voice is nice, isn't it? So the what Mad Season did was he was making all these videos about World of Warcraft, like what's the best axe, or like, you know, the coolest items or whatever. And people who like Warcraft were watching it, and people who like listening to him were watching it. And he was doing all right. And then, like, he was doing all right for years, bear in mind. And then World of Warcraft went down the pan a bit, and they started. What the main point of the game is you level up, like it's a role-playing game. So you go around and you level up and you do things and you level up and you get better and you level up and you get better stuff. And then they introduced this level boost where you could buy the levels. So like, a lot of people felt really angry because, like, what's the point in playing the game with people where I'm working really hard to level up and then someone else just turns up and then spends 60 quid and then they've leveled up. And like, it kind of like was a schism in the game. Like, WoW Classic was the old game, and it's been a long time since WoW Classic, and a lot of people that used to like the old game, they're not so happy with this. So this Ballad of the Level Boost, look, that nearly got 500,000 views, nearly got 600,000 views, talking about that level boost. And then after that, he decided not to I've had enough. He decided, fuck it. So he did his last few videos, and then he just sort of signed off. No king rules forever, quitting WoW. And that video got 1.2 million views. And no one wanted him to go. Don't leave. So then he started doing videos about stuff. So he did Pandora's Box, World of Warcraft, a video about World of Warcraft in general. We can watch that another time. Rise of the Influencer, about influencer culture. I thought that was a really good video. 143,000 views, not millions, but doing, you know, I think good. Star Wars Galaxy, Pandora's Box, talking about this MMO Star Wars Galaxies. And Ocarina of Time, Pandora's Box. This is a new series talking about these games and these like big games and the way they took over our lives in a way. So I love Mad Season. I love his voice, his tone. I love his temperament. And I used to watch all his videos even though I didn't play World of Warcraft. So now I'm going to continue watching his videos. But I did play Zelda. Zelda Ocarina of Time was a huge game for me in my life. You know, massive. And that's why when Zelda Tears of the Kingdom comes out, you know, the connection I made back then is the reason that I'm going to be so excited to play this new game. Okay, the new game's going to be good. You know, Breath of the Wild was good in its own right, but like Zelda has a special place in my heart. So I'm looking forward to this video. I've saved it from 12 days to watch it on stream, and it leads into nicely what we're about to do tomorrow when the game is released. I don't know exactly what time the game will be released, but I've got my Nintendo Switch. I'm all ready to start playing it on stream. So we'll be streaming it probably on this channel over here on Twitch and uploading it to YouTube in some facet. And it's a huge game. It's going to take hours. So what I'm probably going to do is stream some major beats. And try and, like in Zelda, what you tend to do is you wander around for a bit and you have a look around and like you uncover some stuff, and you might sort of, you know, do it at your own pace. You might mess about for a bit sometimes, or sometimes you might go hard on the story, or sometimes you might just want to explore what's over there. And then you might find something interesting and, I should be doing this on stream. So I imagine not all of my Zelda gameplay will be live on the internet. Otherwise, I'm only allowed to play it when I'm on stream. And I want to play it a lot. I want to mess about and grind and, you know, mess about. But we'll see how the balance goes. Brian McGee says, you hear Tears is a lot better than Breath of the Wild. Because Breath of the Wild was a 9 out of 10 game for you. Yeah, I think the difference is, right, Breath of the Wild wasn't really as good a game as we feel it was. I mean, it was a 10 out of 10 game, but or 9.9 or what, you know, it was, but it could have been better, but we didn't know it because we were just so blown away by what they did with it. You know, the levels it jumped to from where it was before. We were waiting for it for a long time, and when we got it, it did not disappoint. But, you know, you can do a lot more with that jump off point. I mean, look at what Genshin Impact's. I've just been playing Genshin Impact. Like, apart from just like boring story mode, Genshin Impact's done a lot. Like, there's a lot more we could do. And Breath of the Wild, I think, for me, some of the DLC should have been added earlier. And I think there could be more layers, more systems. Obviously, we're going to see that in the new game, I think. Once you've got a really good engine, a really good, you know, a baseline as well, then you can build on it. And I think they've had enough time and ideas to really build on it in the right ways. Knowing Nintendo, it should be an absolute joy. But I agree, it's hard to... Breath of the Wild feels like everything because... Like, it kind of was like I say, it was like this step into a new world, like a new space. And you were like, oh my God, this is great. And the abilities that you had climbing was an absolute... Like, in Genshin Impact, they use the climbing. They just use it. Like, our characters climb in the same way in Genshin Impact. But it was such a revelation. Like, it was a game changer, wasn't it? And the way stamina was used to regulate that climbing, very clever. Very eloquent and simple answer to a question. So, yeah, in love from day one. And all these stories and the people I met along the way, you know, yeah, they do a really good job. So I'm looking forward to it massively. I'm not even, you know, with some games, right, I will play, like, I don't know, what have I played that I've done a review of? I don't know if I did review Green Hell, but, you know, so like Green Hell, I'll play it, I'll review it or whatever and talk about it and then move on. But with this, I'm not interested in giving it an out of 10. Like with Zelda games, like they're 10 out of 10s, they're Zelda games. I trust. I've got trust. I don't even have to. It's not like, you know, when you go to the cinema and you think, oh, I hope they do a good job with my favourite franchise here. Like, I hope this Batman movie is actually going to turn out to be good because the other one was a load of shit. You know, like, it's not like that. It's like it's Nintendo, it's Zelda. It's like it's always been good. It's like waiting for Christmas dinner. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's always been good. So I'm looking at it like that. I'm not even interested in trying to look under the hood or break down some of the clever concepts or, you know, none of that. I just want to play it and enjoy it, like eating a lovely cake that I know is going to... It's like birthday cake. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. So, yeah, I'm confident and I'm looking forward. That's why we want to watch this video to lead into it. And that's why I've done enough introduction to my feelings about Zelda. We all know. You've all played your favourite games. Peachy says this is the way she feels about Kingdom Hearts. Like, we've all got our attachments from over time. For me, growing up, N64, my sister as well, N64, Zelda, like, that was the one. That was the game. It was the first 3D... before they get into it, the first big 3D experience, open world feeling that we had. It might not be the true 3D open world experience that we feel today, but back then, Ocarina of Time felt like that. Like, you know, fighting with swords, shooting your bow, riding your horse, Epona, Navi, you know, everything's in there. It was the archetype, the great work upon which others were based. the measuring stick. Zelda Ocarina of Time, and oh, it was exciting and great and fun and brilliant, and, you know, the controller and the controls and the images, even thinking about how the little icons are on the screen and my little D-pad icons, the things that I had in my pockets that I put on my, changing my clothes, and oh, there's so much. Yeah, this is going to be great. This is going to be great. So this is where my attachment stems. So I'm really thinking this is going to be good. Let me just see about making the main frame a little bit bigger here. You've got chat on now as well, look. So you've got chat on as well as having this a bit bigger. Chat's on the screen, including your pinned message. So this should be good. And as I said, Mad Season has taken a step forward with their media production now as well, I believe. They are not just like doing World of Warcraft videos, they're putting some effort into the editing. They've got a style and a theme and a vibe, and I love their voice. So Mad Season 10 out of 10 already as well. Same Mad Season videos are the same as Christmas Dinner. I don't have to worry about whether he's going to have a good take on this, or I'm not worried about whether he's going to do a good job on the video. It's already a 10 out of 10. Unless he fucking drops a clanger. It's already a 10 out of 10.
Nintendo announces the release of their next system, the Nintendo 64. But will Zelda make the jump?
How do you do an adventure game in 3D? Nintendo couldn't simply go to a store, buy another game and said, oh, they did it right, because nobody did it right.
Willst thou run? Or fly?
Zelda seized the video game industry, and all the fans have to do now is
Get ready for the most anticipated game of all time. The Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time.
The epic intro.
The year is 1995, and for the past 9 years, the world has been reeling from a sickness. Zelda fever. From the ashes left behind by the video game crash of 1983, the gaming industry had entered a golden era, and at the forefront were two competing developers, Nintendo and Sega. Up until this point, the reigning champions of home consoles were largely dominated by Intellivision, ColecoVision, and Atari, and as more and more
I had an Atari.
people migrated away from the arcades to the comfort of their living rooms, they would experience an entirely different form of entertainment. The flashing lights, the clattering of buttons, joysticks, and quarters were replaced with the solitude of home, holding just a system, a cartridge, a controller, and a willingness to let oneself get lost into a whole new world. However, this...
I'm gonna have to pause it sometimes, and it's going to take us more than an hour to watch this, and I don't want to interrupt his flow because it's lovely, but I'm reacting to it as well. It was important that when I grew up, there was these machines, and they were in these venues, and I had to wish for them. Can I have £1 to play on the machine? It wasn't £1, was it? It was 10p back then. Can I have 10p to put in the machine? But yeah, I had an Atari, and then I had a. I played Prince of Persia. A friend of mine had it, and I played it on. I know exactly the feeling of playing Prince of Persia on the PC back then as well. And then I had an Atari, and I had a NES, and then I had a Super Nintendo and an N64, and but I was back then with the Atari, having the ability to play even something simple like Asteroids or whatever in the home, and I was quite young. But it meant that we didn't have to. Can I have 10p? Can I have 10p? Can I? It was like I've got my own arcade machine. And I remember even as a little kid, I used to believe that when it got to this stage of the game, like when I was growing up, that I would have my own arcade machine in my house. And I didn't ever really realise. And obviously, as I grew up, we got the N64 and they got better. I didn't. When the N64 level, it was all of a sudden I have kind of got an arcade machine in my house. Street Fighter 2 as well, on the Super Nintendo. I have got an arcade machine in my house. And I always felt so lucky that from that, just that simple move from, can I have 10p? Can I have 10p? To, I've got it in my house. I thought that was amazing. And now today, I've got the arcade, like the Super Nintendo Switch, isn't it? The Nintendo Switch. I've got that. That's an arcade machine that I can carry around in my hand. Like, better than an arcade. And I'm doing it through a computer that I can do even better than any of that. It's amazing how far we've come. I've got virtual reality and everything. I'm so lucky. But back then I remember this and just the happiness of being able to do it at home, yeah.
This period of growth was soon followed by another of decay. Where there's massive profit to be made, there are those willing to race to obtain it, even at the cost of quality standards. And as a result, the US market had not only become oversaturated, it had become oversaturated with poor quality, harming not just the personal reputation of the developers, but also that of the industry as a whole, as consumers began to lose trust in home consoles. This, combined with the increasing popularity of the personal computer, the industry would suffer losses the likes of which it had never seen before.
It was like a big bubble and a crash.
In 1983, it had broken new records, reporting a revenue of over $3 billion. But by the time the dust had settled in 1985, this would shrink by 97% to 100 million. Publisher and developer alike folded under the strain. But where many saw adversity, Others saw opportunity, and when the Nintendo Entertainment and Sega Master Systems hit store shelves in the US in 1986, the industry once more would forever change.
Maybe the most addictive toy in history, and it's definitely the hottest thing this Christmas. Nintendo.
It is weird for me because obviously I lived this, but I lived it as a kid. So I didn't understand any of this economic context or any of this. I just wanted to play Mario. I just wanted to play Zelda. I didn't have Zelda on the NES. I had it maybe for a bit and swapped it, or I had the other games. You didn't get all the games. You couldn't have every game. And while I played Zelda for a while, I think I swapped it because I found it difficult. Back then as a kid, you didn't have save states and all this, but I wasn't into it on the NES as much as I was as I got onto it on the later systems. But this is my childhood, isn't it?
Video games. They first arrived from Japan 3 years ago, and now millions of American kids are hooked and mesmerized. When they do stop to talk, it's in a language only they understand.
With their release came franchises so well crafted that they would restore consumer confidence and thrust the industry into a bright new future. The 80s and 90s were still a period of growth, experimentation.
I also want to shout out, I love Nintendo. Some people were talking in chat earlier about Sega, and Sega as well. My mate had a Sega system, but I always felt like okay, Sega had Sonic and it was Sega and Sonic, but I felt like Nintendo was a bit more holistic, if that makes sense. There was a bit more of a cohesive feel to it, like the Nintendo, what we would call today a Nintendo universe or the metaverse. All the different characters and they're in the different games, and there's I don't know. I just always felt like Nintendo were like a bit more of a family feel, more inclusive. Like we had games like the Duck Hunt thing, everyone can shoot the gun. I didn't have the gun, but I don't know, I just always felt like drawn towards Nintendo. I know it's silly because it's a company, but as a kid I'm playing these pieces of media and I'm attached to them in the same way as kids might get attached to Disney films or something. I always felt compelled and I'm going to say in love with, in a way, like romantically drawn to, attached to. I'm a Nintendo person. Like when I used to read the comics, there was the Beano and the Dandy. I used to get both comics, but there'd be like the Beano fan club and the Dandy, and then there was the Whizzer and Chips comic. And in the Whizzer and Chips, it's one comic called Whizzer and Chips, and it's got like two different, the Whizzites and the Chip Kids. And do you like the Whizzer comic, or do you like the Chips? Do you like Whizzer or Chips? Like which side of the... And I was like, well, I read both comics. I like it all. Like I like Nintendo, I like Sega, but if you have to put me in a camp, I'm going to be a whiz kid. I'm not a chipite. I just feel like if you had to put me in a camp, I'm going to be a whiz kid, not a chipite. And with this, I just felt like Nintendo, like it's like a love thing. I just love Nintendo. And it's a company, and I'm not like, oh, capitalism, love companies, but like it had a vibe, man. It had a vibe. And that's just who I am, a Nintendo person. I had a NES, a Game Boy, a Super Nintendo, an N64. I could get a tattoo of Nintendo and not feel like, what am I doing this for? This is weird. I just get a Nintendo tattoo, just very happily. And it would just be like, yeah, that's part of me. That's always been a part of me. Always loved it. Always been like throughout my childhood and early adulthood. And then there was a time I went away from playing video games, but then like we're back to Nintendo. Yeah, like vibes, Nintendo. Like, it's weird, isn't it, though? It is weird, but I think it's because they produce a media thing. Like, I think if it was just they were producing cornflakes, I wouldn't feel the same connection. But I think it's because they produce media, like games media. I'm calling games media, or art. They produce works of art, or there is art within it, or whatever. But yeah, real connected.
And therefore, excitement. Formulas weren't yet being perfected. They were being invented. While some would be side-scrolling adventures, testing your coordination, or puzzle-based games testing your wits, an RPG testing your strategic skills, or timing-based titles testing your patience, the possibilities seemed limitless. Every year, each genre...
I never even thought of that as a timing-based game. I didn't think of it like that. Obviously it is. I just realised it. I always thought of it as like the best emulation of boxing we had at the time, but yeah, timing, isn't it?
Was giving birth to legends that would come to define them, offering an intense variety of unique experiences for every type of player. But this itself begged a fateful question, one that Miyamoto and his team asked themselves. What about something that offered all of it?
So this is what we're going to get into now, and he's going to get into, so I'm going to stop pausing it as much, but I wanted to give a huge shout out when he says about Miyamoto and that. Like this is why I have that love, is because these people behind the scenes had that same love, and game development isn't the same as other art forms, and there's a lot that goes into it. But if you have that love, it comes through still in the same way. So it's weird that I feel connected to these people that I've never met and will meet, and some of them are dead now. But I feel like I love the things what they did for me when I was a kid. I can't explain it any better than that. The things they did, they didn't know they were like making me feel things when I was a kid and throughout life, and now still to this day. But there's a lot of love in that, isn't there? So I love them. I'm grateful to them, and this wonderful thing that they gave us. Obviously, I played all this. Found it really difficult.
And so,
never completed that game.
The series would take elements from every genre. The story of an RPG, the action of a side-scroller, the exploration of an adventure game. It had everything wrapped up into one journey, and as a result, it was a series unlike any other. Whereas most were designed to be short but fun experiences, with its battery backup system allowing for saves, this was meant to be experienced over the course of weeks and even months. The story was a humble one, but tapped into the fantasy of every child, regardless of their nationality or gender, what language they speak, or even what time period they grew up in. What is a fallen branch to everyone else, to them is a mighty sword and the dreams of a grand adventure to save the world. The Legend of Zelda would tap into this worldwide phenomenon, as players would control the sword and shield-bearing Link in his quest to save the princess and the world from the ultimate evil, Ganon.
So I played this game, never completed it, found it really difficult when I was a kid, and as I got older, I went back and retroactively played it. Still didn't get quite to the end, ended up doing other stuff with my time. Maybe we should do it on stream at some point, maybe, but it's held up to the test of time well, but like what we've got now is so much better. But they were trying to create the vibe. They knew they couldn't do the 3D, the running around, this and that, but they were trying to do their best to create the vibe. And from there, that's the template. And what we have today is still this. There's still these characters, these places, these, not the same graphics, but the same images, just told in different quality now. Like this is like old black and white TV, and now we've got, like we still have the Octorok, like the enemy in the frame there I think is an Octorok, and we still have the Octoroks, but they look a lot better now, so it's all there. And I think the first game that I really connected with Zelda wise was the Game Boy version, probably a few years later than this, but I fully played on that Game Boy one and got all the bits of Triforce and all that,
By exploring the world, unlocking secrets,
like all these aspects are there as well in the modern games, bombs, unlocking secrets, like this is all it was just like, it's what I'm struck by is the depth of their ideas back then is still good enough today. It's just if you remake it in today's graphics with today's capabilities, you can have 3D, you can climb up here, you can do this, okay, there's all these other layers, but the same depth of story, like what Zelda was and what it is, and like what you have to do in the game, it stood the test of time so well that with today's tech, and this same team would have absolutely excelled today, and I hope that today's teams do their memory proud as well,
Through dungeons,
the ones that are dead,
obtaining new gadgets.
I'm assuming some of them are dead.
Would become an instant success.
I'm assuming some of them are dead. They might not be dead. Look at all those games. Oh, that would have got me so hard when I was a kid. Look at them all. Some of them I recognised that I owned, and a lot I didn't. A lot of the Game Boy Advance stuff I never played. A lot of the DS stuff I never played. But the one in the middle that's standing out for me, absolutely screaming out to me, is this one in black here. That one. That's one I fucking played, I'm telling you. I think the difference between that one and that one is I think this one might be the American one and this one might be the European one. Pretty sure mine was this black one. Pretty sure. Maybe that's like a we've sold 1 million copies one, but I'm pretty sure that was the one.
Spawning spin-offs, TV shows.
Well, excuse me, princess.
Merchandise. And of course, sequels. And leading up to the release of Nintendo's 64-bit console, the series was 4 in number, each being received with critical acclaim.
That Game Boy one.
You've killed me.
Good.
Except for these ones, which for the best interest of everyone, don't exist. The ones that did exist, how.
So what he was showing you there was there was a CD version that was made. Like it was sold, they sold the rights to this weird company, and they did a sort of like animation, choose your own weird game, and it. Let's not talk about it anymore. It was bad, but these ones I recognise.
However, were The Legend of Zelda and Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link on the Nintendo Entertainment System in 1986 and 87, and in 1991, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past on its descendant, the Super Nintendo, and finally, in 1993, Link's Awakening on the portable Game Boy.
That was...
Though each new release was received just as favorably as the last, they would be more iterative than innovative.
Yeah.
So when it came time for Nintendo's leap into the new dimension, one single question started to grow louder as time passed. When's the next Zelda game?
He's got it so right. He set that tone so well. He set the scene so perfectly. Adverts, but he has, hasn't he? He's done such a good job there, Mad Season, of setting. That's how I felt when I was a kid. He only briefly talked about the Game Boy version, but do you remember how the Game Boy cartridges were smaller, and then the little picture on them was smaller, and it looked, for some reason, when you shrink something down like that, it's like even more exquisite. Like, look at it, the little picture, and then it's Zelda in the Game Boy, and you had to get all the little bits of Triforce. That was chef's kiss as well. You like my blue hair? And then everyone was like, we had the new games systems. Like, I remember getting an N64 and it being barren of titles. Like, I wanted it early. I had to wait for Christmas, obviously, but so there were a few games out. Or it might have been my birthday, depending on when it was released in the year. But, you know, I had to wait for the special event and then get my, I want this. Can I have my games console, please? I'm pretty sure it was that sort of business. I was been like, you know, like 12 or 13 or something. Like, you know, like, I can't remember the exact date, so you'll probably tell us. But, yeah, the wait for the games and like the excitement that it was coming out, like the new Zelda game, like that sort of aspect of it, cannot be underestimated. Like nowadays, you still have that excitement. We're waiting for the new Zelda game. It's going to come out tomorrow, and we've waited for a long time. But in the meantime, there's an awful lot more to do. Like if Zelda comes out tomorrow and I don't play it, I'm not going to be like, oh shit, I'm waiting for the games and I haven't got anything to do. I've got so much to do, like games, even just games wise, not just in life general. But am I affiliated to Nintendo? Not at all, no. Although I did have someone who was in my film, Ed Valiante, who used to do the Nintendo Directs for Europe and stuff. He worked for Nintendo Europe, and he's in my documentary about video games that's on the channel on Super Chuffer. So that was good. Yeah, I should be affiliated. I don't think they need me to sell their stuff. I think they do all right without me. But yeah, this wait for this game and the anticipation and the idea that it was a new system with new, like, he kind of briefly jumped over the Super Nintendo, which was a huge step up from the NES. Like the Super Nintendo was like, it's got a Sony chip. It went from 8-bit to 16-bit. It feels like you're doubling the power. And then the same with 16 to 64. It was like a big number jump. Like these days we don't talk in those terms. Andy Cockle says, still awake. Thought I'd give it a look. Big ups. We're reacting here to this video about the Nintendo and Ocarina of Time. We've just got to the bit where they're about to release Ocarina of Time, and I'm getting hyped, and it's an hour long, and if I keep pausing it, it'll take us 10 hours, so I need to let it roll.
The story of Ocarina of Time begins in 1994, where its working title was simply Zelda 64, which, like many other releases, referred to the console's processing power. From pixels to polygons, Nintendo and Sega were in an all-out war. When the new Mario arrived, Sega would answer back with Sonic. For every Final Fantasy, there was a Phantasy Star, and for every Contra, there was a Gunstar Heroes. Though these games were worthy enough through their designs alone, one of the main marketing strategies for these developers revolved around their graphical capability, thrusting the industry in what is referred to today as the Bit Wars.
Now, I understood that was happening, but I never was interested in the graphical capability over the gameplay. Give me gameplay any day. And I always felt that Nintendo, whilst Sega sort of sometimes lauded it over Nintendo with, we've got slightly better graphics, not dramatically better, and I'd rather have gameplay over graphics. So if you've been spending all your time on graphics and you forgot to put the gameplay element in, then it might fall down. So I always felt more compelled to stick with my Nintendo during this time as well. I never felt compelled, oh, this other machine might have slightly better graphics, I better jump ship. No, I always felt like stick it out with Nintendo. I like what they do. I'm not concerned if someone tells me they've got a slightly better bits or whatever.
What Nintendo? The 16-bit Genesis system by Sega.
You like Sonic the
Genesis does it all.
Though the third dimension was flirted with releases such as Mario Kart, F-Zero, or Sonic 3 and Knuckles, the real question was, who would be the first to master it? This marked an iconic moment within the industry, where the characters on screen started to actually resemble the creatures that they were supposed to. However, for those tasked...
We gave it a lot of leeway back then. Like, we knew this didn't look exactly right, but we gave it leeway because it was the first time we'd seen 3D. You should have seen FIFA. FIFA 64 was a nightmare. It was like a clunky nightmare because of all these polygonical, clunky characters. But it was 3D football, so fuck you. I'm enjoying it.
With guiding these beloved characters smoothly into this new world, it was as intimidating as it was exciting, and while some would send their franchises into hopeful futures, others were hopeless failures.
And I think it does matter about the style of the game as well, because at this point, if you try and go for realism, it's not going to come out well. But with Mario, it's a cartoony sort of vibe, isn't it? And the same with Zelda, it's got its own art style that seemed to work, so it translated well to this.
Setting them back years, and for the Zelda team, considering that there were no 3D adventure games that they could take inspiration from, the only option was to be the one that would inspire others. They would entertain the thought as early as 1994 for the Super Nintendo, which would make use of the Super FX chip, a powerful coprocessor that facilitated advanced 3D graphics, paving the way for titles such as Star Fox or the console port of Doom. The series would have implemented the power of this chip by way of a pseudo-remake of its side-scrolling iteration, Zelda 2, where Link would have a third dimension added to him. However, it would never come to pass, and though there's no official answer as to why, it's theorized that it was due to the Super Nintendo entering its twilight years and the team missing their window of opportunity.
The new Nintendo 64. So what's the big deal, and why is Toys R Us already sold out?
Go back over the bridge. Go over the, no, go back. Go back over the bridge. You gotta go over the bridge.
I'm gonna bug my mom to get it.
But
do you remember playing the machine in the supermarket or in the game shop? You go in like in the shop and you play the machine in the shop. And like, oh my god, there's the game and it's free to play and it's on the demo. Oh my god. And like, oh, no, come on, we've got to go and do the shopping now. No, I want to stay and play the game. Oh mom, can't you leave me here and I'll play the game while you do the shopping? Like, you know, remember playing the machine in the shop.
With the Nintendo 64 on the horizon,
Sarah, yeah, we've got the
had
chat on
opened,
the screen now, yeah.
And they would not let this one slip past them. Early concept work was performed by a small team, including Jin Akita and Takao Shimizu. Right from pre-production, one of their primary goals was to harness everything that these 3D worlds could offer, starting with what was perhaps the most important, its perspective. Though the game eventually landed on the third person, its initial design was derived from the abandoned FX remake. While Link would be a third-dimensional sprite, Hyrule would be a two-dimensional side-scrolling adventure. However, this failed in capitalizing on the great potential that the console offered, and would quickly make way for a first-person interpretation. Similar in gameplay to From Software's iconic Kingsfield series, except when Link would face an enemy, it would switch to a two-dimensional perspective. Though echoes of this design would come to fruition in segments that required precision aiming, it would not serve as the core design in fear of losing identity, as in a completely first-person perspective, Link would rarely be visible.
Yeah, good choice.
One of the few options left would prove to be the most viable, the third person. And though it was a difficult choice, the proven success of Mario 64 would be the nudge that they needed to commit to the perspective that would eventually become standard for them.
Like, you need to see Link and know that you're controlling this little green chuffer to become Link. It's really weird, isn't it? Because you would say first person, it's you in your frame of view, so you'll feel like you're really doing it. So much more immersive, it's you really doing it. Yeah, but the stories of Link, and now I feel that I am Link in some way. Like, Ganji Kid is Link. Like, Link, I am that Link. Like, you had your Link and I had my Link, and my Link was Ganji Kid, little Kokiri warrior. And he went out and he fucking saved the world. And then in the next game, it was like his like ancestor or whatever has come, or, you know, and it's little got the Ganji Kid DNA, and it's my turn. And like, your Link is your Link, and my Link's my Link. And like, you're right in chat. Have fun in chat if you want. It's on the telly, yeah. But I remember this like feeling of like You know, seeing him changing his clothes and everything, I think it's really important that we got to see him. And I'm surprised now that he's pointing it out. It's a really intelligent point from Mad Season. I would have thought that first person made me more connected with the character because I am the character. But actually third person made me much more connected because I could see the character. And even though I would have a lot of empathy for and be interchanging Link's role with my role in my imagination as I'm playing, you know, like when you play with your soldiers or your little wrestler men, like, or with this, I'm playing with the character and I'm interchanging their perspective and my perspective. I'm doing the stuff, I'm going through the missions, I'm fighting the baddies, you know, but I'm Link and Link is me. Like, we're interconnected in that way. Like, I'm sure you all understand that if you love Zelda, like, you are the character and they're interconnected in some way. These are the great beauties of artworks, like great works of literature, you know, feeling connected with those characters and interconnected. And then like we need our own pictures, don't we? We need MIMP pictures. You've all got your pictures. We need MIMP pictures. Yeah, I think this is a big part of it, and I'm so surprised that I didn't realise that it was simply about the perspective, and then it's better with the third person.
The series, and with this problem solved, they moved on to another of equal size, the swordplay.
Swordplay, which they got fucking bang on, and I've loved all my life.
As remarkable as it was at the time, the combat in Zelda games was relatively simple, though sometimes trickery or ingenuity were required. Most often, it was walk up to an enemy, slash, and then walk to the next. And the team knew that this would not suffice in an industry that was becoming more demanding with each passing day. Shimizu would be inspired by the Chenbara genre of movies, which highlighted samurai sword fighting. This style of sparring would rely heavily on athleticism, zoning, reaction speed, and windows of opportunity.
That was a cute little editing trick.
Simple swipe of the sword, Link would have to be able to maneuver around in the heat of combat in this new dimension, and getting around the guard of his enemies while holding his own. They would gain inspiration from a performance at the Toei Kyoto Studio Park, a form of theme park where attendees can watch drama shows. One of the shows featured a group of ninja surrounding a lone samurai, and one had attacked with a sickle and chain. But the samurai caught it with his left arm, stretching the chain tight as the ninja continued to circle him and keeping his focus on one. This was the solution. If there's a way that the player could input a command to focus on one single enemy, the camera would be able to keep both in view unhindered, and, with Link always facing them, allow for the fluid movement and athleticism that was iconic to the fighting style.
And it works
as well
so
as
well.
Making precision shots in the heat of combat.
And to this day,
for this, they devised a feature that would innovate not just the series, but the action-adventure genre as a whole.
Done.
Z-targeting, where with the press of a button, the camera will shift behind Link and lock him facing an enemy or object, and swing a sword or shoot an arrow in that direction. Though today something like this is quite standard, this would be one of the very first iterations of a lock-on system, and it paved the way for many games that are now considered to be staples of the genre. As a result, the player had full control in both attacking and guarding against enemies, even when surrounded, and at the same time, being able to maneuver Link accurately through an active duel.
That was the mirror fight.
New depth of combat.
That mirror fight was an absolute joy, and because of this combat system, I loved this combat system.
Using motion capture technology, adding yet another layer of realism. And they also caught critical inspiration in how the fights were choreographed. The outnumbered hero emerging victorious against all odds is an unrealistic but fundamental component of all action movies.
True.
Something that they knew was critical in making a grand and memorable adventure. But how is it achieved? Well, this question is answered with another. One that anyone asks themselves as they're watching these fights take place.
You can't fight.
Why don't they just attack him all at once?
Yeah, and this is true. You can't fight because we did sword fighting, fencing. We learned about this sort of stuff. You can't defend against multiple enemies like this because you can't watch your own back if they did attack at the same time. So it is about timing, and these films make it look like you're having a big fight, but they're taking their turns really. a good game, they should. Obviously, that Zelda's going to not just try and kill you every time, isn't it? So they implement this a bit. But I would also say, as a good player, you try and line up your opponents so you get them in rhythm rather than they all have to get, like, if you go and stand in the middle and they all come at you, that's bad. But if you take them in a route, like, you can avoid getting ganged up on. So,
well, of course, it's for
chat's going mad because it's on the telly.
Entertainment. A certain amount of suspended disbelief must be held in order to create entertaining fight sequences, and the team would translate this directly to the game. Though there are many times where Link is surrounded by enemies, in true Chambara style, they'll most often attack just one at a time, giving the player the feeling of being that hero who overcame the odds. But, of course, there's much more to a Zelda game than just its swordplay, and as monumental of a task this was, it would be just a taste of the challenges that they would face in its development.
Little Marios. He's having fun with his little Marios at the event. They're all at the event there in Japan or some shit. I never went to anything like that. Playing little Marios.
Every day that passed was invaluable and pushed the team closer to Space World, a Nintendo-owned convention that previewed various in-development products. And while the team wouldn't have an engine or gameplay ready at the time, they would have
take a bathroom break. I'll just let it run.
And it was then that the public, for the first time, would lay eyes on Zelda 64. The fan base erupted. Beyond its advanced graphics, swordplay such as this seemed beyond reproach, and the fact that it would be central to the entire game was a difficult thing to wrap their heads around. And though Shimizu's influence would guide Zelda 64 throughout its development, he would be called away to work on Star Fox 64. Regardless, the demo and news of the game would reach the West in January of 1996 through Nintendo's official magazine, Nintendo Power, in their preview of the Nintendo 64. But for now, in their own words, they could only admire the 12-second demo and fantasize what the first 3D iteration of the world of Hyrule would look like. Development continued at a steady but slow pace as it would occur alongside Super Mario 64. Despite Link's popularity, he would take a back seat to Nintendo's Italian mascot, as many key figures, including Miyamoto himself, were more than preoccupied with Mario's first 3D adventure.
They did tend to do this. They did tend to focus on one thing at a time, didn't they? You'd get your Mario game, then you'd get your Zelda game, and it's kind of still a bit like that.
Touring studio shows for inspiration were now hundreds in number.
You're right there, Brenda.
With the tremendous success of Mario 64, the team had gained a critical surge of confidence. Not only would Mario inspire it, they would even initially share the same developmental framework, with one major difference. It would be disc-based.
This never happened. Shut up with your adverts. Get off. Get away. This never happened.
This format was not something new for the franchise at this point. When most people think of Zelda 1, the first image that pops into their minds is the classic golden cartridge, but when it was first released in Japan on the Famicom in 1986, it would be exclusive to its disc-based peripheral, and the motivations behind it would mirror the same for Ocarina's development a decade later. The scope of a world as massive as Hyrule demanded more memory. The Nintendo 64 disk drive, or 64DD, was a magnetic floppy drive accessory for the console, holding its own rich history of development. Though a relatively obscure peripheral today, in 1996, it was central in discussions surrounding the console, as it held within it the potential to
You live in a different world, mate. That never happened.
A new era, with its ability to store an additional 64 megabytes of rewritable storage.
Listen, sometimes I wonder if we've gone down the wrong leg of, like, you know, when they do like on the sci-fi and there's like the world splits down a decision and one line goes one way, like, you know, Quantum Leap, it's gone two different ways, like, you know, the world's gone two different ways, and like in one world JFK got shot and in the other world JFK didn't get shot, and like you've jumped timelines. That's it, jumping timelines. I feel like I've jumped timelines. This didn't happen. Like, fucking grow up. What are you on about? This never happened. I never had a disk drive for my fucking N64. Are you a nutter? Like, this didn't happen. And like, I also think about the timelines thing. If it, the timelines thing, we're on the wrong timeline. Like, oh, thank God we won the war. It would have been worse if we didn't win the war. Yeah, that. But wouldn't it have been worse if, like, isn't it bad that Hitler did the killing of all the Jews and was bad? Like, isn't there a different timeline where Hitler wasn't a fucking nutter and everything was just all right? We're already down the bad timeline. That's why bad shit keeps happening down this timeline. It's because, like, we're taking the hit for an alternate us that's having a great time out there somewhere. I'm having a reasonably good time, but, there's another one of me on a different timeline having a really good time, and I'm taking the hit for them.
As well as holding
so look, this didn't happen anyway, so don't get your hopes up about a disk drive. This is just made up.
Allowing for things such as persistent world design.
Again, no.
Connect through the internet through a service called RandNet for online gaming, as well as media sharing, and it was one of the first ways that Nintendo...
There's no way my N64 could go on the internet, so don't be stupid. The internet didn't exist. I don't know what he's going on about here.
Nintendo would bridge the gap between PC and console gaming.
No.
What was perhaps its biggest selling point, however, was that Zelda 64, due to its sheer scope, would be exclusive to it.
I'm not
exactly how it would be implemented.
I feel like I might have dementia, and this might be me, like, not understanding the world properly in my dementia. This didn't happen. There was no N64 PC mouse disk drive attachment. It simply didn't happen.
Unclear, but Miyamoto suggested tapping into its ability to create persistent worlds, that every action that the player performed would change Hyrule, such as picking a flower and another variety growing in its place sometime later. This wasn't going to be just the biggest Zelda game, this was going to be one of the biggest games, period. And so, development continued, and when Space World 1996 arrived, Zelda 64 would make a small appearance in a promo for the console. Though the trailer previewed other popular titles, such as Mario Kart, Star Fox, and GoldenEye in full detail,
had it good back then.
The whole 12 seconds of footage of the new Zelda would dominate the discussion and would be tirelessly combed over by the rabid fanbase.
Always been the way.
This was no tech demo, and as short as it was, fans bursted at the very first glimpse of its actual gameplay. This was the first time that they laid eyes on it since its unveiling over a year ago. Its first official screenshots were shared in issue 94 of Nintendo Power in January for Japan and March for the West, teasing familiar locations such as Death Mountain, an early iteration of Kakariko Village, as well as Hyrule Castle. It seemed to be progressing at a steady pace, but unbeknownst to them, there was a problem. One so large that it would not only cripple its development cycle, but also threaten its very existence.
There were demos in 96, and they said, yep, it's
Problems.
coming out soon. There were demos in 97, they said, yep, it's coming out soon.
Zelda problems.
Zelda 64's development today is known for its many delays, most of which relating to the disk drive. As powerful as it was, it had one fatal flaw. It wasn't the size of the memory that counted.
It didn't exist, that's the flaw.
It was how you used it. Though technically they were less powerful, cartridges had advantages over disk drives. One of the biggest being
I always liked
that
the cartridges.
They had no moving parts, which
I still
allowed
like the
for instant
cartridges today.
retrieval of any piece of data, such as the animation
You can't
of
scratch
Link
them either, can
swinging
you?
his sword, or that of the enemy being struck by it. A magnetic disc, on the other hand, requires it to spin in the proper position, and the magnetic head to position itself correctly in order to retrieve it. And no matter how fast this process could be, it would not be instantaneous, so a simple fight would become extremely sluggish as the disc struggled to keep up with the read functions. While this wouldn't be a problem for simpler or slower paced games, as you could fit the patterns into memory and read them beforehand, Zelda was far from simple, as it held over 500 animations, and far from slow-paced, owing much of its success to the action portion of action-adventure. The game would look better, and it would be bigger, but it would be at the expense of the fluid combat that defined the series. And additionally, putting this problem aside for a moment, the disk drive itself would become one of Nintendo's biggest commercial failures.
It didn't exist.
It would only see a total of 9 discs released.
It didn't
and the
exist.
peripheral itself wouldn't be finished until 1999.
It simply didn't
a full
exist.
year after Zelda 64's eventual
Why do they keep
release,
saying? Why
and
does it
due
keep
to its
saying it
obscurity,
exists?
It's become something of a collector's item today.
Fucking thousands of
And
pounds
so,
for that.
A fateful decision was
Rubbish.
made. It would not debut on the disc drive as advertised, and the can was kicked down the road through the form of a promise. While Zelda 64 would not be disc-based,
no,
its remake would be.
Because it didn't exist. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time era.
In recent times, remakes have become quite popular. Developers have honed in on the power of nostalgia, and today they're in abundance. But for a game to have a remake just 1 year later was certainly a rare occurrence, one that spawned out of a failed promise. Zelda 64 was marketed quite heavily to be an exclusive to the peripheral, and the team felt obligated to fulfill their commitment in some way, and so a remake, Ura Zelda, was born. This would be a return to their original version for the game, tapping into the extra memory and the read and write functions that the magnetic disc offered, as well as remixing dungeons and providing new challenges. But there was a problem. The director in charge for the project, Eiji Aonuma, was not happy as he didn't consider it to be a true Zelda game, and he protested the development of what he thought to be a mere rehash. Instead,
I don't remember any of this.
That
I just remember waiting for my Zelda game
to reuse the assets from the Ocarina of Time, but to create a whole new experience.
Look at the interface.
In response, Miyamoto issued him a challenge. If you can do this within 1 year, you'll have your wish. This monumental challenge would result in a momentous sequel, Majora's Mask. Aonuma would become the producer of the series, a title he still holds proudly to this day. And as for Ura Zelda, it too would see a release, and fans today know it as the Master Quest for the next generation console, the GameCube. And so finally, after over a decade, the Ocarina of Time in its original vision saw a release in the form of a remake. Though considering that this was their original intent, it may be more accurate to say that the smaller cartridge-based release...
Am I confused, right? What he's saying is that later on they released a game that was the original, but it was different, so I'm confused. But
was the true remake.
It was the remake. You just confused the fuck out of me there. Show me what I know to be true. Forget this fucking disc nonsense. Show me that
The severity
cartridge.
of the setback could not be overstated. Maps had to be downsized, dungeons and zones had to be cut entirely, and pre-rendered backdrops were used in place of actual interactive
I remember that little bit.
Environments. Every single bit was stretched to its absolute max, and the game itself would run at a maximum of a mere 20 frames per second.
So you're saying there was a better Ocarina of Time, it came on a disc. Right, wait, let me get this in my head. You're saying there was a better Ocarina of Time,
crippled by this turn of...
and it came on a disc, but that didn't get released really because like fucking no one had this disc drive thing. So years later, they re-released that as like a updated super version on like the GameCube or something, and you could get like what it was supposed to be, but they wasn't happy with it or some shit. But then back to where we are now in our world, in the wrong trouser leg of time, there was Sleep to Chance of Dreams having to go to sleep now because it's getting too confusing. There was actually, like, so what they did is they took that stuff off that disc and said, right, let's do the best we can on a cartridge because the disc was bigger but couldn't read as fast or something. And now we've got this. I thought Ocarina of Time was like the definitive, but it turns out it could have been better. Is that what we're saying? It's weird.
Events and inspired by the success of Mario, the team had entertained the idea of Hyrule Castle serving as a hub, much like Peach's Castle, where Link would traverse to different locales by jumping through paintings. The open world of Hyrule would be cut, but the size of the other locations would remain intact. It wasn't ideal by any means, but with the game having lost the raw power that the disk drive provided, it certainly was tempting. But not tempting enough, and the tough decision was made to downsize areas and remove others entirely, and the game had become undeniably smaller than that of its original design.
Wow. And it was still amazing. Best thing ever. And yet it was a pared down version.
Nintendo 64 Zelda was delayed because it was just such an epic, humongous game.
But that doesn't mean that it was small, and so they returned to their plan of the open world design, though echoes of the Mario iteration can be found in the Phantom Ganon boss of the Forest Temple, where Link must battle him as he jumps in and out of paintings.
Classic.
Setbacks and their consequential delays aside, the team continued on, and in E3 1997 in June, another major footage drop would occur. This, along with more screenshots, would paint a detailed picture of how it's evolved, such as making use of the Nintendo 64 C buttons, where including the sword, available on-demand gadgets were upgraded from 2 to 4. And in Space World later in the year, it would finally be given its official name, The Legend of Zelda: The Ocarina of Time. It was at this point that the game had started to closely resemble what it would eventually become, and attendees were even given a special treat of being able to play it. The team had prepared a demo for fans to explore small areas of the game, including dungeons, the open world, and even some bosses, which gave them a feel for what the game would be, as well as ultimate bragging rights to their friends. Gameplay, information, and screenshots were in abundance at this point. In its release month, Nintendo Power would release a full 18-page coverage of its gameplay, as well as previews of the first 3 dungeons. This was the kids' version of the Ark of the Covenant, complete with the most prized possession of all, the golden cartridge, continuing the tradition of the special collector's edition that started with its debut. And so, as release day grew closer, anticipation grew larger. This was one of the games that, if you didn't pre-order, you were returning home empty-handed. Stores had to predict how many copies that they would be able to sell when making orders, and nearly all would underestimate the power of Zelda, and stores around the world would sell out almost immediately. In fact, the demand was so high that weeks before its eventual release, stores had to even halt pre-orders, as supply just couldn't keep up with the demand. In the US alone, pre-orders eclipsed over 500,000, more than...
This is obviously never going to happen again because we just do digital download now, don't we?
Tripling that of any video game ever released on any console at that point. On release day, this would pass 1 million sold, and a month later, 2.5 million. Zelda fever was alive and well, and it was spreading to levels never before seen. The moment of truth was here. After years of development and delays,
and incredibly a bigger game that got made. And I guess in some ways, actually, right, if you have like an album and you've got 15 songs and you have to cut it down to 12, then you just lose the worst ones, don't you? And you keep the best bits. So although some backdrops and some of this and that, overall, I'm guessing when these decisions were made, maybe some of the stuff that wasn't or didn't need to, or I was iffy about this, okay, we'll cut that, and you get a much tighter game. Maybe there are some benefits to it being cut down, but I'm forever wondering what the biggest what it would have been on that disc drive, and whether I should go and play that game if it still exists, like you said. But there's us on Epona with our carrots, so shut up, this was brilliant.
From 1994 to 1998, all of these trials were put to the test. Was the Ocarina of Time a game worthy of bearing the name The Legend of Zelda?
Best game ever. Best game ever.
The game is finally released in both Japan and the US, and immediately sweeps both countries.
Many today look back at the Ocarina of Time as the greatest game ever made.
Yeah.
In 1998, they thought the same. It had received perfect or near perfect scores from everyone in the industry, whether they be professional critic or casual player. As expected, it followed the formula set standard by the series, but to another level. When writers Toru Osawa, Kensuke Tanabe, and cinematic director Takumi Kawagoe were tasked with delivering the narrative of the Ocarina, they knew the weight of what was asked of them.
The Deku
With
Tree.
a more realistic representation of characters came an increase in potential of cinematic storytelling. It was at this point where characters were actually capable of showing emotion and personality through more than just dialogue. Though this was the 5th game of the series, it was the first of a new era of the Zelda franchise and the gaming landscape as a whole. It wasn't entirely new.
That was
as the
Dodongo's
Link to the Past
Cavern.
held a respectable amount of cutscenes to deliver the plot, but this was something else entirely. Much of its 256 megabytes would be dedicated to...
Poach the Narrative says, Zelda triggers me. My twin's dad blanked me completely on my birthday one day as a new Zelda came out. I've moved on. Sorry to hear that.
Cinematic storytelling never before seen by fans. And today, whenever they think back to the Ocarina, The images that pop into their minds
I love this.
are most often from the over 1.5 hours of rich cutscenes that innovated the series.
There's Ganon.
This wasn't just a game, this was a movie. And right from the moment they pressed start, they knew that they were in for an adventure of a lifetime.
Yes, you're right. It was the best game ever. I kind of think it still is. Like, because of the feel, like, these days, you're so, like, what I described, you know, all that weight, all that build-up, this being pushing the new technology to its limits, so big, in fact, it had to be pared down for the new technology. Like, you were getting something, a new step, you know. It was something different. You were moving into colour, like, from black and white. It was something so massive that today you can't, like, the next step on from what we've got today to the next step isn't that big. Like, we work in smaller steps. You know, Breath of the Wild was a big step in itself. That's why that felt so big, so, like, special, so big, because you hadn't seen it before. It was a big step onward. Like, this was such a big step that, like, will a game ever be as make as big an impression again? You know. So I'm never going to be a little kid again. So back then, it didn't take as much to make a big impression, and this was more than enough.
Three goddesses of courage, power, and wisdom have created the land of Hyrule, leaving behind a symbol of their power, the Triforce, which will grant the wishes of anyone who obtains it. Because of its great power, it's been sealed away by 6 sages in the Sacred Realm inside the ancient Temple of Time. But they did leave behind a path to it by collecting 3 spiritual stones, which were entrusted to the Guardians of Hyrule. One could open the resting place of the Master Sword, and it was prophesied that when the Hero of Destiny pulled it from its pedestal, the door to the Sacred Realm and the Triforce would be opened. At the start of the game, during a prior war, a gravely injured Hylian mother and her child sought refuge in the Kokiri Forest. As her dying wish, the mother pleaded with the father of the village, the Deku Tree, to raise him as one of their own, to which it agreed, as it sensed a great destiny held within him. The forest exists as a form of utopia cut off from the rest of the world, where those who wander in or out become forever lost, eventually turning into skeletal creatures called Stalfos. But there's a problem. The evil king of thieves, Ganondorf, is after the Triforce and has placed a curse on the Deku Tree and is hunting the 3 spiritual stones. And so, Link is tasked with collecting them before Ganondorf does. Though he is successful in his quest, as he draws the sword from its pedestal, he's caught in stasis, allowing Ganondorf to sneak into the temple and steal the Triforce of power, and using it to throw Hyrule out of balance, and twisting it to the forces of dark and despair.
Good night, Stinky Socks. Mad Season's got that voice as well, hasn't he? He's got a very bedtimey sort of voice, and it's late night, yeah. Good night.
7 years later, now an adult, the rest of the game now revolves around finding the sages in 5 major dungeons spread throughout Hyrule to seek their aid in order to banish
Oh, it was so cool as well, because each sage had a different quality, and you didn't quite know who it was. And like when you were a kid, you didn't have that. You know, these days it's pretty obvious when the story beats are happening. Oh, this is going to be so and so. But like back then, I was like, oh, this one's turned out to be the sage.
Ganondorf to the underworld and undo the damage he's done, unlocking new tools, weapons, and gadgets along the way.
It's your wall's birthday. Only now, all metal posters are up to 40% off.
One of the first things players would remark on was the sheer size and scope of the world. Hyrule and its size at this point had already largely defined the series, but its transition to the 3rd dimension would pave the way not just for future iterations, but for the genre as a whole. Though the worlds had depth and scale, exploring them would be limited to 1 screen at a time.
Yeah, this
so
was
being
rubbish.
able to
This is
actually
brilliant.
see the open plains in front of you in such a scale and with such clarity, funny enough, was a relatively innovative feature. And it was at this
Amazing.
point is when video game worlds started to actually feel like worlds.
Yes.
And though scope would be hindered with the loss of the disk drive, by 1998 standards, it was still extremely impressive.
Incredibly impressive.
Apart from being the type of game that forces players to think their way through problems. I think probably the next most important part of the Zelda experience is providing players an opportunity to feel like they are a part of the Zelda world. And I really think that with the 3D environments of the Ocarina of Time, it was really able to create the type of scenario and the type of world where players felt just completely immersed in the surroundings within the game.
But as large as it was only a small part of a much larger world, serving as its heart.
Lon Lon Ranch. Castletown. Hyrule Castle. Kakariko Village, though. Big Kakariko Village, isn't it? Lost Worlds, Kokiri Forest, Deku Tree, Zora's Domain, Gerudo Valley, or Gerudo Fortress, Gerudo, and the Colossus. Lake Hylia. I say Hyrule, and Hylians, and Lake Hylia, so I don't know.
And connecting it to a variety of biomes, from the sprawling Hyrule Castle, to the craggy Death Mountain, to Zora's Water Domain, or Gerudo's Desert Sands. The world held variety, dungeons, secrets, wonder, and perhaps most importantly...
Nope.
Intimidation. As far as the gameplay is concerned, having proven its success, it had continued its traditional formula, featuring 12 dungeons total, and as is custom, each with their own unique twists, bosses, and puzzles tied to obtaining unique items. Due to the openness of the world, it would give an unrestricted feel, but ultimately was designed to be progressed in a linear fashion, with dungeons holding puzzles that are only solvable with tools.
See, it's not really an open world. You could go anywhere you want, but obviously you're not going over there because you haven't got the thing to get you through the pass. Like, you need to go and do this first. Like, it's an open world, but you've got to do it in this sort of order, and you get this thing, and then you can go through there. And then when you got this thing, you can go and do this. And then you come back to this thing that you always knew was there, and you can use your new thing and get it down or whatever. So there was a bit of that, and that's clever game design, I think. It made you feel that you were open, and, like, you know, you could see everything, could go anywhere, but you still felt you should take this, you know, more directed path. And some open world games do suffer from the fact that if you can really just go anywhere, and Breath of the Wild suffered from this, because once people got their head around it, the speed run is you basically just get that glider. Before they glitched, now they glitch the game and you can just like fly through the mountain or whatever. But like before they figured out the glitches, you get that glider, you'd be off the thing straight to Ganon. Like you can literally just go straight to Ganon and you can fight him just one-on-one, me and the arrows. You've got to be good, but you can do it. Open world, but you know, you want to go around the story in the right order, so it's clever to make you do this in a way. I don't know about Dr. Hinton. I don't know what. Don't know what that is. Hang on, I'm trying to copy that. Don't know what it is. Don't know.
From the previous. While straightforward, this serves as a slow and natural way to teach the player how to wield them, and as you progress, the dungeons therefore become more complicated. Of course, when it starts, roadblocks are about all you have. Bombable walls with no bombs, hookshot targets with no hookshot, but slowly and surely, you clear them with your expanded arsenal, and by the time you reach the end, it commands the mastery of over 20 tools that you collected throughout the adventure. Besides enemy difficulty, challenge is steadily ramped up through more labyrinthine layouts, or more complicated puzzles. The first being the Deku Tree, which is essentially a tutorial dungeon where the answers are outright given to you. There's one very clear path forward, but as you progress, you're introduced to dungeons where the way forward isn't as obvious.
It was magical to get your new tunic or your new boots or your new shield and work through a new temple with all new challenges within a game that, like, bear in mind these days, some games do take a bit of a 40-hour run or whatever, but back then, like, you had no real idea. You just knew it was big. And you knew it was taking a long time, and it would, like, come home after school, you play the game, and then you wouldn't finish anywhere near. You'd be like, wow, like, this is big. And, like, it'd take weeks to get through Zelda. months probably to like have a really full, like to when you like really felt you'd like, you know, fully complete, like months I think as a kid. So like the size and scope of this, and so discovering a new temple, getting your new boots, like saying, right, tonight I'm doing the water temple, like that was big. It was like sitting down to a like important game of football or something you've been waiting for a week. You know, you'd work your way up there, you gathered all your materials or whatever, and tonight we're doing the water temple. And all of the temples were so good, so cleverly thought out, so individual, character, they had a lot of character.
Stop acting like you know the way ahead, like you know the rules. There are no rules, man, we're lost.
There are 3 things in life that are guaranteed: death, taxes, and getting lost in the water temple in the Ocarina of Time. With a transition to 3D, exploration and puzzle solving are opened up to, well, a whole new dimension. Something that the game very overtly touts with its very first dungeon, as it starts with a vertical climb from the bottom to the very top, and then to the underground, just to remind you that you're not simply scrolling room to room anymore. And this is a theme that's carried on and expanded upon throughout the entire game. The musical score was as memorable as ever. The series composer from its birth, Koji Kondo, makes his return, and he wouldn't waste a single bit of the much larger amount of memory and range of instruments.
There she is. I say she because that's, I don't want to do any spoilers for a game that's like 50 years old or whatever, however old it is now, like, you know, 20 years old. But you know, she's there playing Shake, but we know that's her really, don't we? The Bolero of Fire, all these musical pieces were so exquisitely woven in, they became part of the game because you have to repeat them and play them. And you don't have to learn them specifically, like, you know, you don't have to become a musician because you're just playing these buttons. But like, like they're so interwoven with your enjoyment of the piece and doing it well and having it part of the gameplay to this degree where it becomes interwoven. And I look back on it now and just think it's absolute poetry the way they did this, and each individual music piece had its own feel. And to this day, I don't think any game has really connected music and, like, you know, made music such a central part, and yet it doesn't feel like you're fucking messing about trying to play music all the time in a rhythm game or anything. It's just little da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da, and you get these motifs and it stays with you. Like, I think it did such a good job with this. All the chicken you can eat.
Disposal, making it one of the most recognizable soundtracks of the series. Though surprisingly, there was some controversy to be had.
The full soundtrack was
specifically, the original music for the Fire Temple had to be removed, as it held a chant in Arabic that Nintendo feared would offend Muslims. Along with its graphical capability, another layer of realism and immersion was added through its day-to-night transitions.
That was lovely.
While it certainly wasn't the first game to implement it, due to how well it was done, it would be one of the first to standardize it, changing the world, not just visually, but also functionally. Whereas in the day, you'll find Hyrule Square bustling with activity, at night, you'll find things have settled down a bit, and shops are now closed. There are new townsfolk to talk to, and new secrets to unlock. And this is a concept that would later be expanded upon in the game's direct sequel, The Majora's Mask, where instead of day and night states, the world and its inhabitants would change by the minute during a 3-day cycle. The transitions are extremely quick to minimize situations where you're just burning time waiting for sunrise or sunset. The biggest spot many people are remembering is in the very beginning of the game, where you're going from Kokiri Forest to Hyrule Castle, and the gates close just before you can reach it. That is, if you're casual filth who didn't know that rolling is faster. And even still, the time of day is manipulable. In its original design, Link would have been able to pay a small fee to sleep in various inns spread throughout the world, but this was cut, and its functionality would transition to the Ocarina, which, as referenced by the title, would be central in its gameplay, giving you access to a myriad of powers, such as the ability to make it rain, stun enemies, teleport to any dungeon, or even call Epona, Link's now iconic horse, that would also make its premiere in Ocarina. It would also play a key role.
You know, I don't know, because I was only a kid, but me and my sister called it Epona. Like pony, Epona. Not Epona. I love Mad Season. I love him to bits, but I think maybe it's just like cultural. Maybe it's just a different way of pronouncing it. Maybe I'm getting it wrong. But me and my sister called it Epona because it was a pony. Epona.
In the game's story, granting you access to the Master Sword, which sets you forward or backwards 7 years, changing both Link and the world visually and.
Right, I want the music for the Temple of Time, just for the vibes. I know pausing it is going to take ages to get through this video, but I want the Temple of Time. Oh, hang on. Because this is the sort of music that you can have at your funeral, can't you, when people are coming in? I don't know if it's you think it's a Masonic checkerboard? It might have been in the Zelda game. They're Japanese though. They have masons in Japan. I think it might be more likely just to show like the texture and the shape of the room. Like there's lots of different textures, isn't there? Is this Masonic? Might be. I don't know if it is. Let's go back to the Chuffing Game documentary.
Functionally, from its inception, both the story and the gameplay were largely inspired from its predecessor, A Link to the Past, on the Super Nintendo, down to the 3 artifacts you collect in a pure world, to the sages you have to meet in the dark and twisted reincarnation.
It's always kept the same vibe going.
But whether it was the gameplay, the graphics...
This is something that I actually think is incredibly interesting about the Zelda format as well, the franchise, is that it modernizes in terms of the technology, but it tells the same story again and again. And okay, it tries to change it sometimes. It's this time we're up in the air, now we're in a boat. This is slightly different, but really, you're leveling up so you can get the sword, so you can find the different people from all the different areas. You're going to go to the desert. You're going to see your friends up Death Mountain. You're going to, get all the different people together. Then you're going to fight the main boss. It's always the same sort of story, isn't it? And I don't want it to be dramatically different. I want it to be Zelda every time. I don't want them to try and change and weird spin it. I'm happy that it's a better version and a better version and a more honed version and a better version each time. And as we get on now, we're doing a sequel to Breath of the Wild is what we're coming up to. So we can't expect some of the things to be like climbing's not going to have got dramatically better necessarily. Although mechanics might be interesting, new stuff. But maybe now we start to look for depth of story and once we've got that groundwork in, varying the story in clever ways. But it's interesting that you didn't have to, every Zelda could just be Zelda again. Like you said, it was lifted all the story from the Super Nintendo. I didn't care. Do it again for me, but do it this time it's 3D, and now next time do it with even sharp. I think that's really good. Yeah, I don't eat pesto straight from the jar, no.
Or the music. It all came together into one complete package. One review would describe it as a walking patent office due to the amount of innovations it held, and whether it was its 3D world design, its lock-on system, dungeons, its day and night cycles, or time traveling, the amount of groundbreaking features it held was certainly impressive. Perhaps the most remarkable of all, however, was its storytelling. On a surface level, Ocarina is a humble tale of a child of destiny on a quest to save the world. However, if one digs deeper, they'll find that it not only has one of the deepest stories of the series, but a video game media as a whole. And to understand it, we must first understand what inspired it, and like many other forms of Japanese media, is heavily influenced by Shintoism.
Shintoism, not Masons. The Shinto Masons.
You have to look after yourself before looking after anyone else.
Shut up, he's in the shower. Ooh, he got his Lynx aftershave. It's not Lynx, it's Dove, so that's a fuck up because I said Lynx, so I ruined your adverts. I should be nicer to the advertising people. Maybe they'll sponsor me to smell nice, but they didn't sponsor me today, so I'm talking all over their adverts. They can shut up. Let's keep going.
Shinto is a religion that's practiced prolifically throughout the country. The word translates into the way of kami, where kami are sacred spirits that exist in objects or elements of nature, such as Fujin, the god of wind, or Raijin, the god of thunder, or even through concepts such as Hachiman, the god of war. And the most important is the sun goddess, Amaterasu, who is responsible for bringing light to the world, though there are said to be over 8 million kami in total. They are worshipped through shrines, either privately at home or publicly, over 100,000 spread throughout the country. Large gates, called tori, are commonly found at each shrine, which serve as pathways to a sacred area.
We kind of have these in Genshin Impact.
And separating it from the outside world. Each is dedicated to a specific kami, depending on the choice and beliefs of the person or community. Those who run a business may have a shrine for Ebisu, who's associated with wealth. Or maybe a student struggling in classes may call for the aid of Tenjin, the kami of academics. And a man suffering from hair loss may pray to Kamigami, the kami of hair. Shinto is atypical for most religions in the sense that it's more
I think Alan's been praying to the kami of being a twat.
Of a way of life focused on community than it is with any sort of moral code. And instead of worshipping a central deity, those who practice it instead worship the spirits of nature and of past ancestors. One of its most defining characteristics is that the physical world itself is sacred, and where one takes, they must pay back in respect for the life-sustaining bounties of nature. Respect, honor, and dignity are important aspects to the religion, and those who are selfish pollute the world with their greed, distressing its fragile balance. The relationship is reciprocal, and if humans mistreat the world and the kami, they will mistreat them in return. And if humans respect and take care of them and remove pollution, they in turn will take care of the humans. The religion is as old as the country itself and has served as an anchor for harmony and spiritual balance in their culture for as long as they've known.
It's a tale as old as time.
However, just as how its followers may be influenced in positive ways, so too can they in negative ways. Such was the case in the 1900s, where the religion was leveraged by the state for militaristic aspirations. Over time, the state had taken firm control of the finances of the shrines within the country and trained their priests to incorporate teachings and strictures beneficial to the empire, such as hailing the emperor as a divine being, and that life's greatest reward was death in his name. Respect and the worship of spirits of nature had been misdirected into a living being, and along with the samurai's Bushido code, the state had used the religion to indoctrinate citizens into a nationalistic fervor in order to support their aspirations for growing their empire.
The kami are going to be well angry.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you this important bulletin from the United Press. Flash, Washington. The White House announces Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor.
It's December 7th, 1941, and Japan has unleashed a surprise attack on American soil.
This is took a turn.
The target was Pearl Harbor, and it marks their entry into the deadliest conflict in human history. The Second World War.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin. The Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii by air. President Roosevelt has just announced.
1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
Their reasons for entering the war were many, including economic pressure brought on by a lack of resources and a desire for economic and geopolitical growth and a powerful army and naval force to obtain it. Their most powerful weapon of all, however, wasn't a tank, nor a battleship. It wasn't a plane, a rifle, nor a missile, but rather the state's weaponizing of a religion the entirety of the country fervently practiced. Japanese youth would be indoctrinated from birth to the emperor's divine nature,
and that
they themselves were descendants from the kami and were on a sacred mission. Their will was the will of the emperor and no one else, and to offer up one's life to him was an ultimate honor and privilege. After giving their lives, they gave honor to their family and were taught by state-controlled Shinto priests that they would become kami themselves for their sacrifice and would be worshipped after they had carried out their duty. At the conclusion of the war, after atrocities were answered with more atrocities, the Shinto directive was issued, which differentiated the religion from the state's ideological manipulation of it, referring to the latter as state Shinto, and banned any further practice. The emperor would be forced to publicly renounce his divinity in both Shinto and...
Sorry, that's good then, because that's good now. We've got the green tick, so everything's fixed. We had the nuclear bomb, and now we've got the green tick, so I'm glad everything's fixed over there. Green tick. Things are good now that you've got a green tick.
The emperor would be forced to publicly renounce his divinity in both Shinto and state Shinto today are referenced by a variety of Japanese media, often serving as cautionary tales of the consequences of overambition leading a nation into one of the most devastating losses of life ever witnessed by mankind, and also that the more fervently one clings to an ideal, whether it be religious, political, social, or otherwise, the more vulnerable they become to those who would wish to wield them as weapons to further their own agenda. Antagonists are typically warlords whose lust for power leads they and those around them to paths of destruction.
Because of the context of Japanese culture. I get it now.
Headshot. The people they rule over suffer, and the protagonists are most often heroes of honor and virtue, serving as purifiers who protect the innocent and restore the balance and respect of nature. Today, now free from the influence of those who would seek to weaponize it, Shinto is practiced willfully and peacefully by over 80% of Japan's population and has returned to its roots of community and harmonious interactions between man, nature, and kami, and Nintendo is just one of countless media companies to incorporate its history as a storytelling device. The main character of Star Fox, Fox McCloud, is, well, a fox, or kitsune, who serve as messengers of Inari, the fox kami of fertility, rice, tea, agriculture, and starships. But as far as the Ocarina of Time is concerned, much of the plot is a reference to fertility. The main character is Star Fox.
This was brilliant editing. This was a brilliant editing joke and a wonderful beat, and I talked through it a little bit, but this is fucking brilliant. It's making me feel emotional. I now realise, like I said right at the start, the thing about this, I always felt like emotional connection to Nintendo on a deeper level, and it's because there is a deeper level to it, isn't it? I do think this as well about Japanese culture. I've probably said it before once or twice sometimes, but like probably not that often on our streams, but you know, it's something I've said before in the past to my friends. Like, we lived through the war and we got to be the heroes and win the war in the West and all that business, but like in their country, in their culture, like they dropped bombs on people and then they had the bombs dropped on them, and like it's a different perspective on shit, isn't it? Like, imagine growing up under the cloud of these like historic events that are tragic, like just different. So I think like some of that has come through into this, and I didn't realise it as a kid, but yeah, I totally resonated with some of these ideas. But this editing idea, this joke about the fox of the god of starships or whatever, this is brilliant.
It's just one of countless media companies to incorporate its history as a storytelling device. The main character of Star Fox, Fox McCloud, is, well, a fox, or kitsune, who serve as messengers of Inari, the fox kami of fertility, rice, tea, agriculture, and starships. But as far as the Ocarina of Time is concerned, much of the plot is a reference to the very foundation of the religion and the fragile balance of nature and its relationship with humans, and how a thirst for power is quenched with the blood of the innocent. Each race represents a different element: the Kokiri the forests, the Zora water, and the Gorons mountain and fire. And as Ganon gains from his unrelenting greed, nature loses and the people suffer. Upon emerging from the Temple of Time, you're immediately hit with the state of Hyrule under Ganondorf's rule. The once sprawling and jovial town square is now desolate, and the sounds of cheerful conversations are replaced with the wails of the undead. Monsters have overtaken the once serene Kokiri forest. Death Mountain suffers from constant eruptions.
Yes.
Lake Hylia is drained of its water, Lanlan Ranch is taken over by Ingo, the sinister, greedy, animal-abusing employee of the once kind Talon. The dead are robbed of their peace and are destined to eternally wander the ravaged lands. And the once sacred temples have been corrupted and are now inhabited by hostile creatures and are now funneling dark energy into Hyrule.
It's so simple, isn't it, really? But it's such a great premise because you see all this stuff and then you want to go and like sort it all out, don't you? Like, it's just such a good premise. It's just like simple and effective. I love it.
The balance between deities, humans, and nature is thrown off, and it's up to Link to restore it, who represents a force of cleansing and helping those in need and purifying the world of its pollution. And, in the process, leaving behind his home, his innocence, and even his childhood.
Old Spice makes all things possible.
Stupid adverts.
Like now, I'm riding a horse backwards.
Stupid adverts. Shut up, you stupid adverts. I've got my shield, look. Got my shield. I think that inside every adult is... I'm going to cry. I don't know why it's going to make me cry. I think that inside every adult is the heart of a child. We just gradually convince ourselves that we have to act more like adults.
One of the core design concepts of the Zelda franchise is the gap in power that's created from the beginning of the journey to the end. In its beginning stages, obstacles are in abundance, and their solutions are few and far between. However, as the player progresses and expands their arsenal of gadgets, puzzles become solvable, and the unreachable is within reach. In Ocarina, beyond a variety of tools, Link's maturation itself plays a central role in this progression, and while this provides a new depth in its gameplay, it does the same in its story. The prospect of growing up and its implications is a foundation of the Zelda franchise and recurs frequently in its many iterations. In Link's Awakening, our protagonist finds himself shipwrecked on the island of Koholint, a dream world suspended in time where the inhabitants never change, and the only means of escape is the Windfish, a creature that's held inside the egg that would become central to the plot. In Majora's Mask, the townsfolk comfortably blind themselves to their inevitable doom staring down at them from the stars. The Wind Waker opens on Outset Island, which is home to his close friends and family that he's known since birth. Or, in the Ocarina, in the idyllic Kokiri Forest, which resembles an eternal playground where the children never age and are isolated from the dangers that lie beyond the tree line. All of these places are their own unique forms of paradise, so why leave them behind and enter these dangerous dungeons and face daunting enemies? Well, to save a princess, to protect the world, or to stop evil. There's always some urgency introduced at the beginning, but its purpose is dual: to progress the plot, and to also whisk our protagonist away from the comfort of ignorant bliss and towards difficult and unknown challenges, to accept the unacceptable, that all living things are subject to the flow of time. Actions performed in the past have consequences in the future and shape not just the world, but also those who inhabit it. The dialogue is riddled with references to growing up, becoming a man, the right to hoist the Master Sword from its resting place, and to become an adult is only earned after passing a set of trials. Saving the world from insurmountable odds reflects the struggles that all people face, with the dungeon being the substitute for one of life's many challenges, but at the same time, arming you with the tools and the allies necessary to overcome it and the next one that lay in waiting. The bosses, as intimidating as they may be, must be defeated in order to move forward. Beyond the simplistic nature of the timeless hero is a commentary of the nature of time, one that teaches that life's wonder and anguish, splendor and heartbreak, and beauty and tragedy are fundamental components of what it means to live. Being bound to the flow of time is a decision that's made for you, and while its speed seems different for each person, no one can change it. The egg housing the windfish that leads him away from this dream world reflects the process of transforming from a child into an adult. Though it's warm, safe, and nurtures the life held inside, it was never meant to be permanent.
Well, I'm feeling emotional because, like, well done, Mad Season. That's very clever and it is very emotive. I'm also thinking, no wonder I'm so lucky and grateful to have such compelling and rich media to have been able to experience when I was growing up. So, yeah, like, wow. I didn't think of it in that way, but Mad Season's nailed that. It's made me feel all emotional. Good night, everyone. When people go to bed, good night. Good chat there. Your chat is always on the screen, but I'm trying to keep it on Zelda for the video thing. Because I'll cut this and put it on the Super Chuffy for you afterwards.
Ocarina innovated the industry in more than just its gameplay. With its cinematic narration, it marked a pivotal moment where the box was opened, and what started as a simple distraction became an entire medium of nuanced and meaningful human expression.
Do you think? I wonder if that is it. Like, the documentary I made was about video games are art. They are. Like, it's almost like the documentary sort of says, should video games be considered art? And it's like, don't be silly, that's not even a question. Let's talk more about what art really is and how we're using these video games to express ourselves. And, like, you know, that was my piece. I didn't realise that when I was playing these games back then, I was playing the, you know, the sort of iconic piece that would become video games are an artistic medium. Like, they are like, now it's a bigger market than film, you know, bigger budgets, bigger box office, whatever. They make more money, you know, bigger than film. It's bigger than that. Like, he just said it there, that this is, like, you know, the one that, you know, took that step. I suppose, like, when you think of it, I mean, because you think of it in polygons and the graphics aren't that good. I don't know if it was, like, is it the first big, I don't know if it's the first big one, but, like, interesting the way that Mad Season's put in the, I'm going to rewind that just so I can hear it again. Like, go ahead,
just
Mad
its
Season.
Gameplay. With its cinematic narration, it marked a pivotal moment where the box was opened, and what started as a simple distraction became an entire medium of nuanced and meaningful human expression. While most enjoy it for its simple yet satisfying adventure, those who dig deeper may find insight more valuable than a simple game could ever provide. From its opening cinematic to its ending credits, the history behind its conception, design, and implementation is an adventure itself, and consequently has become a focus of an archaeological study of sorts. Both the official release and also leaked pre-release copies have been combed over and analyzed time and time again, and despite the length of this video, what you've seen is just a fraction of what's held inside the box. As with each passing year, new insights of its design and motivations behind it are uncovered by one of the most dedicated fan bases in history. Even though it's now over 2 decades old, either through the original or its re-releases and reworks, it holds a remarkably active community of hardcore speedrunners setting new challenges for themselves, and casual players who simply wish to pay tribute to it. Perhaps Miyamoto is right. Maybe there really does exist the heart of a child in everyone, one that yearns for the impossible, to go back in time and relive the days of innocence now lost, whether it be through the places we grew up in or the things and people we grew up with. The flow of time is always cruel. As it passes, people move. Like a river's flow, it never ends, though all things places, and people all eventually fade away, our memories of them live on, and for many, those of The Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time, are ones that will never fade. A legend in more than just name, and an adventure that's most certainly timeless.
It got me in the feels, that did. Well done, Mad
And what's the
Season.
story behind this Link guy?
Well done, Mad Season.
He starts off very young, and gradually through his experiences, he grows and he becomes stronger and he matures.
It's a legend of epic struggles, of new worlds, of heroes. It's The Legend of Zelda. The story puts you in the role of Link, who goes on the adventure of a lifetime.
With the development of another Nintendo console came the development of another Zelda game, Ocarina of Time for the N64.
When you're actually developing a game, it's really hard to see how it's going to turn out and whether or not it will be successful. But with Ocarina of Time, when we actually finished working on the game and saw what we had created, we were like, wow, we really may have done something great here.
The game not only met but exceeded the heightened expectations of the media and gaming masses, and continues to be copied to this day.
When it comes to video games, the more bits the better, and the new machine from Nintendo is as good as it gets.
What I'm reflecting on is the idea that they put that depth into it. You know, the reason I'm feeling emotional about it is not just because it's my childhood and remember this, but you know, these stories they're talking about, the battle between good and evil and the balance of the world and the history behind their feelings on it, and you know, loss, time, love. You know, having that depth in it. It's making me get me in the feels now. Now I realise why when I was a kid I was so connected to this media without knowing, you know, why I liked it. You know, I just really fucking love that game, and it's lovely to have it sort of spelled out like that. I didn't know Mad Season was going to do such a good job on that. I thought they were just going to sort of describe the game and talk about what it was, and you know, give us a bit of nostalgia. But I didn't realise they were going to like find the way to hit me in those feels like that about time and all that stuff at the end. Yeah, I thought that was awesome. Better than a standard YouTube video. Really, really good. Well done, Mad Season, of course, with their loads of subscribers. So, like, well done. Like, they don't need me to be like, you know, drop the link in the description. Wait, so you're going like they've got millions of they've got 500,000. But obviously, do subscribe to Mad Season if you're not subscribed to Mad Season already. You know. But they don't need me to, you know, their life doesn't hinge on my recommendation. But I love Mad Season, I love what they did with that. And like I said, reflecting on the ideas that, the reason I loved that stuff so much. And I'm so looking forward to tomorrow, to the new Zelda game. Like, that's why I wanted to watch this. Tomorrow we're playing Zelda, yes! I can understand now why I feel that way connected to it more, yeah. Yeah, that's what I was saying about putting the depth in. Like, I'm glad that they chose to. Not everything has to be deep, but I'm glad they chose to put that depth in there, because without it, we wouldn't be doing this now, wouldn't be having this conversation. So I like things with a bit of depth.